I saw a headline today. I don't think this is that heavy compared to the shit I usually drop. But it was the headline that Cartoon Network Studios was being shut down.
What?
Y'all didn't see that? It was like trending. Warner Brothers is saying that's not true. That it's going to be a distinct, everything's going to remain intact, but they're just going to, I guess, make the brands and lines more distinct, whatever the fuck that means. But it just made me think about it made me think about what if and what it means, and then it made me think about the shit we're always talking about,
What if I told you that cartoons could be on a network together?
What if I told you they already are?
What if I told you you're in a cartoon right now?
What if I told you cartoons are in us?
I had sex with a cartoon.
I have cartoon sex.
Fuck Warner Brothers. They made that movie Osmosis Jones.
They made Osmosis Jones, and they let Kid Rock in that bitch.
Talking about Kitty fiddling. Kid Rock talking about Kitty
talking
fiddling.
about Kid Rock talking about rocking kids.
I was watching our TikTok content. The Osmosis Jones one is doing very well. Well, we'll see. It might peter out into the late hours here, but yeah, I think it's resonating with the audience.
Yeah,
the fact that Osmosis Jones is bad. Well, not the movie, but
the movie's great.
What they did.
They made some questionable creative decisions and choices.
Yeah.
I'm still reeling. It's come on. Are you fucking serious? Even in the 2003, you couldn't get that joke off on a sitcom probably in 2003.
Right. I think it was actually 2001. It was August 2001. I just guessed 2003 because it seemed like
Islamophobia just like took over the room like a stinky fart. No one was paying attention to any kind of other fucked up shit.
It was August. It wasn't even. It was
August.
It wasn't even time yet.
Jay-Z was like, "Yeah, I think the cover. We can fix the cover of the blueprint and put it out pretty soon." He was working on that.
Yeah.
Oh my god. It was August.
It was August. It wasn't even.
I remember my family rented us. Well, no, it was my mom and my mom's friend and her son. I came home. You know when something fun just happened and you just missed it when you're a kid and you're like, it's catastrophic because it's like, I can't just, I'll rent the movie and buy popcorn for myself. You can't do that shit. It's like you missed it.
Right.
I came back in like an empty bowl of Tostitos queso. Osmosis Jones was just rented and they just finished it. And I was like, really?
Oh, man.
You motherfuckers just watched Osmosis Jones without me? Without me?
Dog. The same thing happened to me when my dad bought a bootleg copy of Pokemon 2000.
I wanted to see that in theaters so bad and I couldn't.
It was the first.
In case you're wondering, I did not have that experience of seeing Pokemon.
Me
2000.
neither.
I was collecting the toys from McDonald's and Burger King like a motherfucker, but
yeah, correction, it was Pokemon the first movie, and I
what is the first one?
This was the one where they meet Mewtwo.
What's the name of it?
I think it's Pokemon the movie.
It's Pokemon the first movie.
So 2000 is
2000 is the one with like Lugia and all the new.
So
Pokemon.
I'm talking about the first movie, not 2000.
Yeah.
So that's the one I wanted to see.
And that's the one my dad like. There was a dude always hanging at Kroger, always had DVDs, and my dad would always come home with a PlayStation and a new DVD. It was like
wow.
Like PS2s were just like he was buying them for like $20. I don't know how this happened. He was getting
stolen.
I mean, yeah,
this fell off a truck.
Yeah,
them licks. It was like daddy was copping from them boys hitting licks on the PS2.
Yeah, that's how. I don't know how. It was like every time I went to my dad's house, he came home with a new PS2. It was the wildest shit.
Yeah, that's a confusing sentence.
He's like, you need to play Shadow the Colossus, son.
Yeah.
This is called Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus.
Yeah. It was really the wildest shit. It was like my dad he would come home with a PS2 and suddenly out of nowhere he had cable. It was like,
I think you got those the same day.
Yeah, it was
Sounds
always like I didn't know. First of all, I didn't know we didn't have cable,
Mm.
and now you're telling me a man came over and installed cable. He hooked it up. But anyway, he brought home Pokemon the first movie, and I was excited to watch it. But I was also disappointed that I didn't get the theater experience where you got the holographic Mew.
Yep,
I got
card.
yeah.
Sorry.
That's incredible. Wow.
That's fucking
Yeah,
sick. You still have it?
No.
Oh man.
Oh no, that's long gone. No, that's long gone. I like sold all of my
there's a
Xbox,
boom.
PS2,
There's a
all
Pokemon card boom going.
Oh
right
yeah.
now.
Yeah, I
Them
sold
shits is
so
going
many.
crazy.
I probably sold off
Is-
like 10 grand worth of shit. I
Lots,
mean, it wasn't worth
lots,
that
lots
then.
of kids did.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
it's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's
There's lots
I-
of people that wish
like,
they held
no
on
way
to those
this
Pokemon
fucking
cards.
Happy Meal toy is gonna be worth anything, and it's
Right.
like
Right.
you look it up and it's like fucking
You know what?
thousands.
You know what kills me? I had for years. I still had the Burger King sunglasses from Wild Wild West.
Yep, me too.
For
Yeah.
years.
Yeah, I had those too.
Yeah.
There was a Burger King Happy Meal thing where it was the Wild Thornberrys movie, and that nasty son who was like,
Donnie.
yeah,
Donnie.
there was a scratch and sniff. Where you'd be like, his ass. What does that smell like? You scratch and it's like, not good. Yeah, ass. Not very good. I remember that. Yeah, no, something specific. Cable. I remember the night we got cable, and the thing I remember is like
Was it Comcast or
No, it was Charter.
Charter
Communications, which is I think was bought by Optimum, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, they had that in Alabama when I was in high school.
Charter?
Yeah.
Charter. More like it.
Charter.
And yeah, like literally turned it on. It was like Scooby-Doo reruns on probably Boomerang or Cartoon Network. And I was like, whoa, look at all these channels. Did you ever have cable? No, you didn't have cable.
I don't know.
Cable and Christianity, for some reason, don't mix. I don't know why. Like, I knew so many kids that didn't have cable.
Yeah.
So here's where I get confused to this day. I don't. Most
Basic
of my
versus
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
So most
no
of my
basic. I'm asking because some kids literally were just doing this shit into their teens, like the bunny years. Like,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
a
yeah,
fucking
that's right. So we didn't have that.
okay.
It would just be like it was like 100 channels or something.
Yeah, that's what I had.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was like you would have Disney Channel, Nickelodeon, UPN, a bunch of like news stations, Sci-Fi, MTV, VH1,
Yeah.
Spike TV. There was Turner Classic Movies
Yeah.
was one.
Yeah. History Channel, Sci-Fi Channel,
Yeah.
A&E,
Planet or
Pre Breaking Bad A&E.
Animal
AMC.
AMC.
Animal
yes.
Planet.
Animal Planet.
Was that a whole channel? I can't remember.
MTV1, MTV2.
Yeah.
I'm really trying to list. I remember the
Yeah.
numbers too. They're coming back to me as I'm going. There was
MTV.
ABC Family also.
Yeah.
There was always
remember-
lit channels in the 40s. It was like, 45.
Yeah.
TNT may have been in the
Yeah.
40s
Yeah.
for me.
I think MTV was 50,
Bravo.
VH1 51, or
I never remember any of the channel.
I think
BET
56
was 72. Cartoon Network
BET
60.
was 71 for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And
I don't-
MTV was 72 and then VH1 was 73.
You know what? Actually, I
There's
think
going to be
you're right.
teenagers
I think-
watching this like, what the fuck are they
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
about?
I think later on they like switched them up and then moved MTV and VH1 to 50 and 51 because I remember them being consecutive at one
It's
point.
regional though, right?
Yeah, this was in
Yeah.
Georgia, so we were both in the southeast, so it's probably
I grew up
similar.
in Maryland.
Well, that's southeast. I mean,
Nah,
Yeah.
depends who you ask,
that's
I guess.
Mid-East,
Yeah.
right?
I mean,
the Middle
yeah.
East. That's where you grew up.
In the Middle East.
Yeah.
in the
Spike
Middle
TV
East.
was 70. Comedy Central was 69.
I remember that. I
Yeah.
think Comedy Central was 69 for
for
me
you too.
also.
Really?
It sounds normal.
68 for me.
It was in the 60s for me.
Right.
Yeah. Cartoon
Wow.
Network was 62, Nickelodeon 63, Disney 64. I remember those.
And
like,
you-
We definitely
UPN
sound crazy right now.
yeah, insane.
UPN, WB50, that was like the early 20s or,
Yeah.
or some shit.
Mhm.
Did you? And then I remember I used to be on Telemundo all the time because that's where Dragon Ball Z was playing first. before-
No way.
Yeah, I used to watch Dragon Ball Z in Spanish. Do you know?
Kakarot.
Kakaroto.
Charara!
That was more Italian.
Charara!
Kakarote, what the hell are you doing on the name?
Did you know the English Dragon Ball Z was translated from Spanish?
No way.
Yeah.
Why? Oh, I guess that's easier than. Why? I guess Spanish-speaking folks wanted that shit more.
Bro, there is a whole world of like Spanish-speaking anime that like is so far beyond what we got. Like, if you ask my old co-host Cristal Marie from Beyond the Bot, she was from DR, and everything they got was like just a step above the quality of what we got, because they didn't censor the way we do. It was just like everything was still there.
It was
like,
more uncut, you're saying?
Yeah.
They was fucking Goku.
They was
was
fucking.
Goku was digging in Bulma's.
Her what, Connor?
Pussy.
Okay. All right. It's just out there. All right.
I wish that word didn't have so much.
Piccolo was clapping cheeks.
Yeah.
I did want to.
Wait, you were getting to something.
I genuinely wanted to bounce back to the Cartoon Network studios.
Hold on, you guys.
There's no way I can bounce
Spanish
back.
Goku, real quick.
Piccolo was fucking. Let's double down on that discourse.
Right.
Piccolo was fucking.
Yeah,
Right.
Piccolo was fucking in Spanish.
Yeah, they was throwing down on Planet Namek.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
They was throwing down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, dog.
Do you know what I wanted to say though on the Cartoon Network Studios tip? Is basically like, I hate, a part of me just like is so frustrated when I see legacy institutions that were technically always exploitative and fucked up, but on the outside everyone's like, no.
Yeah.
Oh my god! It's like when I worked for opening.
Yeah.
I worked for opening ceremony for a year. It was it's like this
right.
high end select shop, like high end fashion retail shop, and then this was years ago, and we knew back then that they were gonna close, but they didn't end up closing until years later. And when they closed, people were like texting me, like, oh, man, it must hurt, right? And I'm like, I was literally texting I was literally like, fuck them.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
why the fuck would I give a fuck about
your
this
job?
Yeah, this institution that just wore me down to the bone, paid me fucking scraps.
Yeah.
But from the outside, it's like, oh, there was a culture.
Yeah.
And there was a whatever. And it may be true, but it's like, it would be perfect to have Jason or maybe not.
Oh yeah.
Well,
on this convo, because you know he knows the inner workings, but like it makes you there's the brand. We grew up with Cartoon Network. We have all these memories and shit attached to it, but it's like, what the people that were making that machine run, what were they going through? What did they feel like? How worth it was it to them?
Yeah.
You know?
What is Ted Turner up to right now? What
Every
kind of
time-
hit is he taking to his pockets?
Right.
Every time I get a new job, which if you're an employer listening, that doesn't happen very often. I keep my jobs, all right? It's like you always are like, this is kind of nice, and then, I mean, within reason, and then you talk to somebody and they're like, oh yeah, huh.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
you're the one I need to really talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like they're like, yeah, I guess so. We'll see.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, yeah, you're the one who's actually been here for the longest.
Yeah.
It's every job.
Yeah.
Single
Everywhere,
job.
even
Oh, yeah.
organizations.
Oh,
in
yeah.
general, just
Oh, yeah.
human organization. You were
Anyways.
gonna say something though. I think.
What was I gonna say? What was do you remember what the context?
I'm not trying to put thoughts in your head.
You were gonna say something.
Like
Say
you were going to say something.
Yeah.
I was talking about like Cartoon Network and like people have an attachment, nostalgia, and there's a brand on the outside, but then it's like, what were the people? How do the people feel?
Finding
on
the
inside?
jaded people within a new job.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
And they have the tea on what's really going on.
Yeah, always.
Yeah, right. It's, I guess in reference to like Cartoon Network and Toonami specifically, I'm just like, I feel like there has to be some type of like strained relationship there, like a love-hate situation, you know what I'm saying? Just because like
with the people working in the company, you're saying.
Yeah, and I mean, in terms of Jason in particular, I'm like thinking about how it came about, and like him and Sean came into the company. I guess Sean already worked there, but like and tried to like start this new block up, and it's like they like going into a situation like that where you know they have the money to support what you want to do, but they don't have the patience at first to give you a shot. You know what I'm saying? to just like that energy of like, we'll throw money at you, and then if it dies, it dies. But like, we believe in you and we'll support you. It's like they really had to earn their spot in that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Even after Toonami was already established, years later, I think they were on for 11 years before they got shut down the first time. It was like, at first, we'll only give you Hanna-Barbera cartoons because we don't have to pay for rights to this. And then it becomes like, well, now there's streaming, there's the internet, you don't serve the same purpose that you used to. And then they get canceled for that reason. And then it's just like, at what point does it feel like you've earned your spot in this framework? You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like,
I just realized what I was wiping my mouth with. Not to interrupt.
Gohan?
Yeah.
Well, and it's like that's what's baked into it is you never earn your spot.
It's never final.
Yeah,
it's never final.
Right.
And so for somebody who's so deep in it, it's got to feel like, yeah, this was home for 20-something years, and it still is to a degree, but also like it's really just the brand recognition more than it is the actual the inner workings of it. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got to navigate how people feel coming from the outside versus how you feel being on the inside.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
where I think it's interesting, what your comment earlier made me think of is like there's a working class Stockholm syndrome piece to it too.
Yes.
I was just thinking about that.
I put all this blood, sweat, and tears into this painful thing that never actually had to be painful and exploitative.
Yeah.
But since I put so much weight behind it and it actually was pain and suffering, I have to claim it now.
Right.
You know, I have to claim it as my own.
Yeah.
You know?
Right. It's like I carved out this space for myself. I'm not just going to let it go.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And it's like you really just get stuck in this logic just because it feels like being a person who like already paid off their student loans and now it's forgiven. It's just like, no, bro.
Yeah.
I'm holding this is me.
Right.
Yeah.
I did this shit, bro.
Yeah.
I'm not just going back to
What do you mean?
No,
Right.
I don't want the money back, bro.
Right.
They gotta see my hustle.
Right.
They gotta see.
Well, it's like people who like have the
those people are
same
real.
Yeah.
the people who
Crazy.
have the same boss for like 20 years and they never evolve to like a partner or anything, and it's just like, that's my boss. And it's like,
Yeah.
You know,
or like I'll evolve. I'll get there eventually. They still hold on to that.
oh,
Because
man.
like if you've put 20 years of work into it, you're just like, surely it's got to mean something. It has to mean something.
this is so relevant because I just watched 1 Hour Photo with Robin Williams yesterday.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? I've never seen that. He mentions Ava in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what
Yeah.
I've known for years.
Yeah.
And
Had you seen it before? I've only seen like the beginning.
I saw part of the movie, I think, on cable many years ago when I was a kid, maybe, or something, but I never actually sat and watched it top to bottom. And
Is it good?
God, yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's a good ass movie. And like Evangelion is like a core part of this narrative too. Like it's not like
Really?
I guess I shouldn't say core. That's strong, but it's a reoccurring
Right.
thing. It's not like just one moment. And it's like,
Yeah.
whoa, cool, an Easter egg. It is
Yeah.
not. I don't want to spoil anything, but
Right.
But it's like a device
in the
movie.
yes,
Yeah.
in the
Right.
story,
That's
literally,
funny.
it is a device,
Yeah.
a narrative device
Yeah.
in the story.
That's funny.
That's fucking sick, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
Shinji, don't worry about it.
Literally, I only want
Oh,
I just want to bring it up so you can do that.
Oh, you can get in the robot if you want to.
No, but it's also Robin Williams' character is like he's been at this. He's so passionate about processing film at this place called Save Mart, which is like a fictional. It's kind of like a fictional Costco or something, but like cleaner and more, And he puts in blood, sweat, and tears, and it ends up being sort of his obsession with this one family that he's processing film for that ends up being his downfall. But in the film, it's showing you the hierarchy of like the work, literally the workplace. There's a scene where his character is like, when people say like, get out of my store, but they're literally just
An employee.
they're an employee, but they're like, get out of my shop.
Yeah.
Like they're claiming it like it's
Right.
theirs. He's in a meeting with like upper management and he says something like, oh, my photos are my customers, and the manager's like, they're not your customers. They're Save Mart's customers.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm like, wow, there are so many people that need to hear this right now or see this scene right
I feel like
now.
that movie's from like 2000, probably.
2001. Yeah. 2002, actually, I think it came out.
Because like there was like that certain heightened like late 90s corporate awareness of like corporatism,
like,
but it was like kind of a neutered
Office Space. I rewatched that recently.
It's the guy from Office Space that plays the manager in this.
Oh, is it
the
really?
Stabler guy
same guy.
He's a great actor.
Yeah.
They're not your customers.
Yeah, what, Stephen Root?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah,
that movie I need to watch.
Speaking of that, I was watching Christian Bale's GQ. They do this thing.
I watched that whole thing too, and he said about money,
American
and
capitalism in the 80s.
So it's really fucking fun because I get to play dress up for a living, but then money expectations come in, ruins it.
Yeah, but I thought of the him saying this film is about capitalism,
American Psycho,
in the 80s.
Oh yeah.
And how ridiculous it is, and like he was like unpacking that.
Yeah.
About how he'll talk to Wall Street guys before that movie came out, had read the book and liked Patrick Bateman. He's like,
and he thought they were joking.
Right?
Oh yeah.
They're like,
no,
what do you mean?
Yeah.
That's a great video. Everyone should watch that.
Dog, I got friends like people I know that worked in and
I
around
realized
Wall Street and saw that movie and love Patrick Bateman, and that's a big part of their identity still.
Yeah.
I realized I don't think I said what it was. It was a GQ video, right?
It was a GQ
His
video
best
of Christian
roles.
Bale going over his most iconic roles.
Right,
and it was to promote
Not to
this.
cut you off.
No, you're
It
good.
was to promote this new David O. Russell movie, which I saw and which was really boring.
Oh, okay.
But
Is this the one where he talked about Leo having first pick on all the roles and everything? Okay,
yes,
okay.
yeah.
oh, I didn't know
He
that.
talks about that. No, wait, no, that's a
That might
written
be something
interview.
else.
Oh, okay.
That wasn't in the.
Oh,
video.
okay.
That was a written
He's like,
interview.
Leo
Okay,
DiCaprio.
I just saw that.
He gets first
I'll get his
pick. Yeah,
seconds.
yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Hey,
You know what's funny?
that's how it is. The biz.
You know what's ironic is that dynamic also exists in like what I'm realizing is such a
You talking
Like-
about the Stockholm syndrome thing or the?
his conversation on capitalism in film and all this stuff. That's a dynamic that also exists in like martial arts movies, which is it's such a it's just full of contradictions in the sense that like those movies are so deeply nationalistic in a lot of ways.
Oh yeah, Jackie
Yeah.
Chan loves China.
Jackie Chan loves China. But like the whole landscape to a degree, because of the outgrowth from that, kind of becomes every nation trying to like sell the world on their fighting style. You know what I'm saying? They got like
an Olympics vibe.
yeah. Well,
Yeah.
you got like kung fu movies, you got karate movies, there's Ugandan martial arts films. There's Tony Jaa has the Thai.
It's the Street Fighter effect.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. the
Exactly.
Street Fighter
Wisconsin.
effect. Right. Yeah.
Some drunk white guy.
Yeah. You know, bro, every conversation has a add along to like a Roy Wood Jr. joke. There's a great one about like being in Street Fighter and like being at the fish market and having these people fight in front of you.
Right.
But,
right. I'm just trying to pick up some fish.
Yeah,
That's
bro,
basically
I'm
what
just-
he's saying.
Yeah, right. But
So funny.
yeah, but like
That's such a basic premise. Like, what if fantasy thing you were there? But that's, I know you said that
but
shit
it's so
funny as hell.
funny when he says it. He's so good.
He's
at, like,
fucking hilarious.
he's the best comic of this, one of the best comics of this generation. I don't want to.
Right.
I didn't mean to say that and then downgrade it, but like he is funny.
One up.
He is
Hold on.
funny as
Oh,
fuck.
let me check myself.
Yeah,
He's
because
the-
I know somebody's
one-up.
gonna be like, "What about Ali Sadiq?" But
Right.
like, yeah,
Right.
but yeah, it's funny that dynamic exists because like all the people that came from like Hong Kong come to the U.S. to make movies, and then it becomes like they won't give us the fucking money, the time. They don't have the patience for us to do the literally 100 takes required to do this one simple movement. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
bro.
They won't put that energy and that time into it because they just want to crank the shit out. And that's how you end up with like Rush Hour 3. You know what I'm saying?
Have you ever seen that clip? It went around Twitter of Jackie Chan on the set. I think Rush Hour 2, who's the guy who directed those movies? Brett Ratner.
Brett
Ratner.
Yeah.
He's like, is Brett still on the phone? Is he still talking on the phone?
Oh,
All
yeah.
right,
And
look,
he goes in.
you come in here, and he just starts directing because he's a fucking director.
Yeah,
he's
yes.
a lot more than a director. He's a fucking producer. He's a freaking mogul. But I just thought that's so funny because it's like there's a work ethic, and then you get to the very unmeritocratic America, and it's just not reflected at all.
Exactly. And it's like they're trying to make these movies that they ultimately don't know anything about. And like really, I mean, I feel like it's the same dynamic as like I always say, like Atlanta as a show is a better adaptation of Cowboy Bebop than the Netflix Cowboy Bebop.
Oh, interesting.
Because it takes all the same themes and packages it into at least the first season does. It takes the same themes and just puts it into an entirely different thing, which I think is how you adapt anime. And that's how I feel about like The Matrix adapting like Chinese like was it Peking opera like choreography,
synthesizing lots of different things. And
it's like they don't take it and say like we're gonna make our own kung fu movie, we're gonna make a Shaw Brothers kung fu movie. They just they just take all the shit and they take the elements and say we're gonna have an entirely different story and we're gonna have them fight on wires. That's what we're gonna do. And it's just like
that movie's so sick.
It's so fucking good. But it's like, I don't know, when you synthesize all these ideas into something that's genuinely like what you wanted to make, as opposed to like capitalizing on a trend, which is what that was. It was like the Hong Kong film industry died to a degree. Shaw Brothers started making TV and people moved here. It's like, it's the difference between like that capitalist. I mean, obviously there's still the same contradictions in the production of The Matrix, but like it's the difference between like capitalism showing its ass and having Jackie Chan make a bad movie, as opposed to like at least maintaining that artistry and that cultural synthesis.
It's like in general we live in this bizarro world where we recreate the shallow elements of great things, but not the things that make them great. And it's like you could so easily exploit this huge body, this huge catalog of shit that's good, and no one would know the difference. But instead, you're doing the opposite and ruining and disappointing everyone. So it's like you're not even getting the easy bag, where it's like, you know, like Tarantino would see a movie in China, take the literal same plot, copy paste, put in white guys, and then it's a crime movie.
The Lion King.
Exactly.
The Lion King.
Kimba the White Lion.
Kimba the White Lion.
There's plenty of so many examples throughout cinema.
I mean, most of early cinema is them just doing plays on a camera.
I was literally just talking to another filmmaker about this the other night. Literally, we talked about it for like half an hour. It's like the form versus content conversation. And this is happening not just in cinema. This is happening in music. This is happening all across the board, especially now. You have so many people that are so infatuated with the aesthetics and the look and the vibe of it, and they're starting entire projects just off of that. That the structural integrity, there's nothing
running the world.
There's no guts to it. There's no oomph to it. There's no whatever. And even me in screenwriting, and that was one of the biggest lessons that I internalized in the process, was realizing, oh no, there are some baseline human narrative things that form the bedrock of everything else. That's great. That's actually brilliant and is giving you the quote unquote whole package. But we're just totally in this aesthetics vibe era right now, which is, I mean, it's one part of why so much trash is being made, and even why it's not, and I said to the person I was talking to, it's not even just at the corporate level. It's even independent creators, indie creators that are working off of this logic. And you have to be like, do you realize like it's not just that made this great? That is, I'm a design person too, so I care a lot about aesthetics. I care a lot about the packaging of things, but it's like, if you don't have, it's like, why are people coming? What's going to resonate?
I'm waiting for the dark tinted podcast. That's got nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Right. Yeah, no, you know? I guess there's a point in that too, not to flex, but it's like, the best shit you're bringing you're bringing the dope aesthetics, but it's on top of something that's gonna move people.
You're focusing on the icing,
and also having something to say.
Yeah.
Do you have something to say?
Yeah.
What do you have to say?
Yes.
And why would it resonate with millions of people like you want it to in your mind? Why would it resonate with millions of people?
And it's like, how confident are you in yourself that you think you can make a whole career, a whole name for yourself off of like a copy of a copy of a copy?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, how dope do you think you are? How much of an ego do you have that you think you can make a name for yourself specifically, just regurgitating shit that's been just chewed up and spit out 10, 20 times? You know?
Here's my thing. You can actually do exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
Just regurgitate the good parts of it.
And do it differently. Take a different spin
You know
on
what
it.
I'm saying?
Right.
A copy. You can copy fucking that's literally
Everything.
what Warhol said.
Yeah.
Great artist fucking steals.
Yeah.
Like, you do steal. You gotta just have the taste of what to steal.
Yeah, it's curation.
Yu Hakusho is just, they're just doing tournament arcs. It's Dragonball Z,
dude,
you know?
That's the funniest thing about anime is like tournament arcs.
Yeah.
Almost every goddamn battle shonen or whatever they fucking call it has one of those.
Yeah.
And they're all extremely unique.
Right.
But they all have that. They know that's a good thing to copy.
Yeah.
Right.
They're not trying to reinvent, you know.
Right. They all got beach episodes. They all got
driver's license episode.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep. All got the main character sitting by a window.
Yeah.
So they don't have to draw the rest of the class.
Like, you fucking cowards, make a goddamn new sci-fi movie for the love of God. That's not some like bullshit no one you've ever heard of is in it. It's a Netflix fart 7 out of 10 movie that's like, have you ever seen fucking Spider? It's about a big spider. And it's like, no, make
you mean
something...
Eight-Legged Freaks?
Yeah.
Are you talking about Eight-Legged Freaks, you fucking charlatan?
or like what's that movie where it's like giant and it's like about a big guy? It's like a big giant.
BFG?
Have you ever seen it? No, I forget what it's called. It's like called.
Yeah, we're not going to
Colossal
shade
or something.
Raoul Dahl in here. Yeah,
I know Raoul Dahl.
Yeah, no, I know. You didn't.
Raoul Dahl.
Yeah.
Hey, whoa.
Hold on there.
Whoa. James and the Giant Peach is the
Hold on
one
now.
we keep.
Let's
all right,
come on.
that peach didn't do a damn thing to anybody. Right?
Yeah.
It's a peach.
Yeah.
They never
You're
did
going
catch
to
that
New York City in a
rhino.
peach, James.
Can't forget about that rhino. They never did catch that
Oh,
rhino.
that movie's terrifying.
Yeah.
I'm terrified when I was a
Yo,
kid.
I heard that. I hadn't seen that movie for years. I guess Tyler the Creator has that.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
when I saw Tyler the Creator reference that line, I was like, you gotta be kidding. Like, as an
Yeah.
inside joke, he was like
Yeah.
quoting that line from James and the Giant Peach. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
That's a deep cut, because that's
Yeah.
been
I
since
thought
I
it
was
was-
a kid. Like,
Well, I remember as a kid that movie being like really dope to me, but I also like just fucking. I think my parents drilled into me that like once you're too old for shit, you stop, and so I hadn't seen it in a really long time, and so hearing that line was just so like it felt so.
Is this a
obscure to me.
sample? Sorry.
No, he just does.
Tyler
He just
the Creator,
says
he
the-
said it in like a video on social media or something.
Well, it's in a song too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny.
That's what I figured.
Yeah. I think it's maybe one of the songs with Earl, so it's
That's so.
Yeah.
Is it the rhino line?
yeah, it's
Oh,
they never
okay.
did catch that rhino.
That's so funny. Yeah, I was just talking
Yeah.
with Connor and Yedoye about how I met the director of that film, Henry Selick, and he's
Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you
Yeah.
were going to mention it, but
yeah. People were apparently wondering and curious. It's the director of The Nightmare Before Christmas and
Yeah.
James the Giant Peach that I posted pictures with on my Instagram before I logged out.
Mhm.
But yeah, he's in my top 5, so that was like a big deal for me.
top 5.
There's more context to that interaction, but we're not going to
Yeah.
unpack all of that here.
Yeah.
Right.
You'll see.
But yeah, amazing fucking movies.
Yeah.
How did we get to talking about James and the Giant Peach?
Well, we were just
Oh,
talking about
You mentioned a
Content
giant. I said
form,
BFG.
giant.
Yeah.
Oh,
Roald Dahl.
BFG.
Well, in that movie as a kid, like, remember when you'd watch a movie as a kid and it felt new every time you watched it?
Yeah.
I miss that shit.
Yes,
but
That's
also,
really
can I
what
just say,
psychedelics are. I'm not gonna lie.
oh, see, this is super relevant because I feel like there is something exclusive to stop motion animation that gives that effect that you
Yeah.
literally cannot find in any other medium, perhaps except cell animation.
Yeah.
You know, so and I think a part of it is that it's tactile, but beyond that, it's the feeling that you can see
Detail.
the flaws that humans
Yeah.
shifted and moved in this meticulous way, and it feels real and not real at the same time. It's literally in this in between.
Well, you can feel
state.
you can feel the labor that people put into it. It's like that was I think Miyazaki kind of makes this point about like giant robot like mech anime, which is that like they show these kids fighting and they show like the like Gundam specifically since that's the one everybody knows, but like they show all this combat and they show everything, but they never show anybody like building the Gundams or maintaining them. And like you're like that's obviously not true over the course of like 40 years of Gundam but like early on it's like in like Gundam 78 it's like you have the Gundam, you have Amuro like jumping in, it's already made, he has the blueprints and he has the plans for it and the instructions, but you never see like anybody really putting work into it, and it is kind of ironic
into building the Gundam,
and there's no like credence paid to the labor that goes into a project like that, which is why Miyazaki makes such a concerted effort to like, I mean, The Wind Rises was about the construction of airplanes, but like in every movie before that, any plane, or at least any major plane, there's always like Porco Rosso, Marco is constantly like cranking up his plane like this and like doing.
So he's like deconstructing machinery, kind of.
And it's
I'm
like
also thinking of The Wings of Oniamise, which is if y'all have seen.
I haven't seen it.
Oh damn! It's a classic. Japanese animated film
on Gundam. Hideaki Anno, is that how you say his name? I was like, we were on Woken Book and I was like just looking at his filmography because I saw Shin Godzilla recently, which is amazing.
Shin Godzilla.
It's amazing. And
it's a very political movie.
My
it's like all
God, we could talk for a half hour about that. You've seen it?
I think so.
Man, that would be a jaded screening for sure.
I was living in Japan when it came out, so I was like in the
saw
midst.
The big posters.
Well, they put a giant Godzilla on a building.
Wow.
That would go. I have video of it on somewhere on my Instagram.
That's so ill.
If people go snooping around, I'm sure they could find it. Maybe,
but Hideaki Anno did mechanical design on Char's Counterattack, the Gundam movie. And that blew my mind. I was like, what?
Wow.
He's an OG mecha guy. Like, that's crazy.
That's insane. Designing like the work of the Gundam.
He's credited as mechanical design.
That's
so
crazy.
I don't know if it's like only, I'm sure it wasn't only him, but like, that's a big fucking deal. Like that almost doesn't eclipse what he's done, but like that's like he could have just been known for that. Like that's crazy.
Right.
But Miyazaki, I saw a TikTok. His relationship with his son is very interesting.
It's bad.
It's not good.
No, it's
like he walked out of his son's movie.
Yeah.
There was a video where he goes to his son's movie. I think the movie's about how he wasn't a great dad. And he walks out and just starts chuffing a cigarette like an hour into the movie. And they're like, Miyazaki walked out of the movie. And it's like almost like a documentary.
Yeah.
And he's just like, you shouldn't make movies based on your emotions. Like he's so butthurt about it. But it's like,
wow.
It's complex.
Do you know which movie
he's a human?
was?
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
He's not perfect.
That's disappointing to hear.
Yeah.
But I don't know what movie, but I think it's, I forget what his son's name is. But apparently Ponyo, is that a Miyazaki movie?
Yeah.
Apparently that's
I don't think
about,
Miyazaki did Miyazaki.
I thought it was a Ghibli
Yeah, he did.
movie.
It's Ghibli, but I don't.
It is
or
Miyazaki.
Ghibli.
That's Miyazaki. Yeah.
He directed it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That is apparently him apologizing to his son.
Oh yeah.
Because he was a
wow.
workaholic, I
Makes
guess.
sense.
And he just
Yeah.
didn't. He's like, I gotta fucking design this pig with 8 legs, 3 eyes. I don't have time to.
He I feel like Ponyo has a lot of themes that kind of get swept up and kind of ignored in the whole Miyazaki universe. I feel like people talk about it like there's not much to it, but it is about like being way too controlling of your children and just like the chaos that erupts from that You know what I'm saying? It's
Mhm.
like they're trying to. It's also a Little Mermaid adaptation, but
is it?
yeah, but yeah, it's like this girl's
So
trying.
hopefully the fish is white and stays true to the original.
Yes, of course.
Okay,
She's
good.
a white child. She's a white child.
She's a white fish, right?
Like
Like the stuff
white fish,
like the stuff you put on
the cheap
fucking
shit.
toast. Yeah, white
yeah,
fish.
Yeah,
A blob.
Thank God. Thank God.
yeah. But yeah, it's. I hadn't thought about of it in relation to his son, but like, yeah, it's just like.
Yeah.
Like not letting your child just pursue the shit that they want to pursue
Mhm.
and fucking up their own life in the ways that it's gonna get fucked up anyway. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
And just having this like obsessive fear of controlling what happens when your child goes out into the world,
Right.
and then, you know,
Some
I don't wanna
Finding
spoil
Nemo
it. I don't-
shit.
It is, yeah,
Nemo.
yeah.
What's that guy's name? Al something? I also
I
saw
don't know.
Poltergeist for the first time. I'd never seen it.
Oh yeah,
Wow.
That movie's
I haven't seen it.
fucking
still.
awesome.
Yeah.
It's also way scarier and gorier and more horrifying than a PG, because PG movies back in the early 80s,
yeah.
it's like you could have fucking penetrative sex and call it
Yeah,
PG. But
right.
Mhm.
the dad is Mr. Incredible, Craig T. Nelson. And I always wondered, I was like, this guy's in like a bunch of shit, and you can tell he's got like an iconic voice, an iconic actor. I'm like, why did they choose him for The Incredibles? He's so perfect for it. And it's like, oh, Poltergeist is his biggest. He's the dad in
Yeah.
Poltergeist. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay. And he looks like the most like, just like stereotypical like working class dad you've like ever seen.
Yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was a cool movie.
I haven't seen that in a very long time.
Revisit it. It's like
Yeah.
it's like it's a Spielberg produced it.
Yeah, of course,
And then
yeah.
who directed it? Toby Hooper, who did like Chainsaw Massacre 2 or something
Mhm.
like that. It's like it's one of those like Cape Fear or like a lot of Spielberg movies where it's just like that perfect Hollywood technical just storytelling perfect movie. Like,
Right.
It's really amazing. I also saw, speaking of horror movies, and this is a very jaded thing to bring up. Have y'all ever seen The Happening?
No.
The M. Night Shyamalan movie, The Happening,
With Mark Wahlberg?
with Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
I liked that actually.
Mark Wahlberg has been a huge topic online recently, TikTok
Yeah.
specifically,
Oh, yeah.
because
Why?
it's all these kids realizing that he was a piece of shit when he was younger.
Oh yeah.
I just saw a TikTok recently where a guy's like, it's like, name your top 3 white people, and a guy goes Mark Wahlberg, and a guy
Yeah.
stitches it, and he's like, I got bad news for you.
Yeah, there was a handful of viral
Yeah.
TikToks like that where they're like, "Should I tell him?"
Yeah.
You know?
He's never gonna escape that shit.
He didn't.
You
He
know.
didn't. Mark Wahlberg. It's like Marx didn't account for. Mark Wahlberg didn't account
How-
for Gen Z.
Yeah.
Have you seen? I want to go back to horror films and the fact that it's October, but have you seen the Mark Wahlberg clip from? Is it The Fighter or something? Where he's like, "Not you, not you, not you, and not you." Have you?
No.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. You're cool. Fuck you.
But at the happening, it's like a really tense moment, and then an old lady's like, "You're gonna kill me, aren't you?" And he's like, "What? No, no."
I know. I remember
it's
the scene you're talking
Literally,
about.
like that movie is honestly like what we're talking about: form versus content. That movie fucks up every single thing. Acting, like, but the atmosphere is better than any fucking
Yes.
horror movie
Yes.
you've seen, man.
Yeah.
Yes,
Like, there's a scene
that's
where
like
they're-
Drag Me to Hell,
Dude,
Yeah.
you're horrified
Sam
by
Raimi.
wind. You're horrified by
Yeah.
a breeze. The
Right.
wind going through the trees is scary to you.
Yeah.
There's so many scenes where it's like, and that music, the guy who did Signs and Sixth Sense did the same music. Oh my God, the atmosphere is incredible. It's almost intentional, like that the other shit's bad. It makes it weirder, like a
Yeah.
Twilight Zone episode where the actors are kind of campy.
Yeah.
Like-
right.
Like Zooey Deschanel and Mark Wahlberg can act. They've
Yeah.
been actors. It's almost like they were directed to be more stilted and bad than they needed to be.
Yeah.
Dude, I
I
watched
kinda
that whole
love
thing.
that.
I was entertained by the whole movie. And
Yeah.
it like ends on a twist. I almost wanted it to like continue. I wanted a sequel.
Yeah.
That movie's not bad if you
Fuck.
take it for what it is. It's
I kind of just got to the point in my life where I
The
feel
Fighter.
like,
I was right. It is
Much.
The Fighter.
yeah.
Can I just play
another
this?
David O. Russell movie.
Let me
Yeah.
let me just play this.
Dickie's a junk bag.
Hey,
He's a junk bag.
Why am I the problem? I'm his blood. I'm his family. I'm the one fighting, okay? Not you, not you, and not you. Not you, 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 and not you. Me? Not you, 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 not you. I'm Gordon Bombay. And not you. Not you. Hey, who? Not you. Who? Me? Who? Who? And not you. Me? Not you. Not you.
If it's anybody, it's me.
Not you. Not you.
Holy shit.
Not you.
You talking to me?
Not you.
Well, who the hell else are you talking? Talking to me?
Not you.
Okay.
I want my family. What's wrong with that?
I'm Donnie Wahlberg.
Not you.
That was some like late 2000s internet.
Yeah,
That
right.
was 2010. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
They
like
had this-
that's
Yes.
They had the same
I
thought
miss
I
that
had too.
so
when people put in
much.
effort, man.
Yeah,
It's so simple too. It's
right,
like
right.
That's so funny.
They had the same thought I had. They threw in that scene from Half Baked. The
Oh, yeah.
fuck you.
right.
You're cool.
Holy
Um,
shit, dude.
Yeah, I
That's
gotta.
so funny. Like, he's the worst actor in that scene.
Yeah.
It's like Amy Adams and Christian Bale. And he's like, guys, break it up, all right?
Right.
Can't tell me what to do.
Yeah, Dog, I want to watch more horror movies, man. Barbarian got me in that mood.
Dude,
I
I
can-
watched The Omen too.
Yeah, I've seen The Omen.
We
The
recent-
original or the remake?
The original.
Okay.
It's hard.
We recently saw, what movie was it?
Barbarian. Or-
Yeah.
Is that what we saw in theaters together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the three of us and this amazing director and shooter named Alex Huggins, who we're going to have on at some point. He works with Alara. We went and saw Barbarian, and then afterwards we had like a conversation about like horror films and movies. And I was like listing off some of my favorite ones, and Alex was sort of just like, movies don't scare me. It's just like it's like not possible. It's like
Yeah.
I'm paraphrasing, but like we had like a dope conversation, I feel like, about like, you know, films that are actually frightening and what makes them frightening. And I think it's different for, I don't know what it's like for y'all, but for Alex and I, because at least for me, I am a horror and thriller fan.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like, you're very desensitized that after a certain point, it takes a lot for you to even, you know, what they say, not suspend disbelief like as soon as it starts.
Yeah.
So given that, the films that sort of sit on my mind are more of the psychological thriller films that have an element of realism to them, that feel grounded in things that are real. And that's why Alex Huggins was saying that his favorite is M, the Fritz Lang film. It's a German film about beyond a child predator. He's like capturing children in this town and nobody knows who the person is. Right. And Alex was saying, like, to him, that's an example of something that's just, it's so frightening because it's real. It's like everything that happens could actually happen. But I really love, like, I've been telling people for years, like, Ari Aster is like brilliant to me, and I realize when I talk about Ari Aster films, it's very like divided on how people feel. It's more divided than I thought, because when I saw Hereditary in theaters. Yeah, I was like, this is the greatest. It's one of the greatest horror films of all time. Right. But it's one of the greatest horror films to come out also in so many years, if not over a decade. Right. If not decades, plural.
It's definitely one of the best of this generation. That's unarguable.
Yeah, and he's synthesizing brilliant stuff from 20th century, horror and thriller films.
The Shining and like giallo Italian films.
Yeah. Right, and you can see Polanski is a piece of shit, but you can see the Polanski in it. Right. Mm-hmm. And but like in terms of I just wanted to recommend some, like, or maybe even name some and see if y'all have seen them. Yeah. But like, I really love, because part of me is like, there's like classic, like canon, like it's kind of just like, you just gotta watch it. It's not necessarily gonna frighten you, but it's a good film and it's interesting. Right. And then there's the films that are like, for me, that what's scary is it's unsettling in some way.
Right.
Yeah.
And on the unsettling tip, like a classic is Rosemary's Baby, you know, for me.
Yeah.
But also like Jacob's Ladder.
Yeah.
Still haven't seen that one.
Alex Huggins
so,
actually
yeah.
saw it in theaters recently.
For the first time.
I don't think he's seen it. He watches lots of movies over and over and over again. So I have no idea if he had seen it already. I'm sure he had. But like on the other side of like where I feel like it's classic and you got to see it is like I would name like Audition. Have you seen Audition?
Dude,
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it in so long. I just watched Ichi the Killer. Dude, I watched like 15 movies the last like week or two, and that was one of them. Was a Takashi Miike movie, Ichi the Killer. I wouldn't recommend anyone actually go watch it. You should watch it with your own caution. There's a lot of just violence against women. Women are getting their face beat in that movie. It's not great.
Right.
It's based on a manga, but it is a really in spite of that, it's actually a very tasteful movie in terms of how far it's willing to go with certain elements and gore and things like that without crossing the line. But Audition is, absolutely.
Have you seen Kaido? Pulse?
No. Oh my God, I just watched that recently too. Dude,
So good.
Ari Aster lifted so much from that movie. Like
so good.
The Midsummer falling off the cliff thing is right out of Pulse.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful film too.
Yeah.
The colors, the lighting, like
I've seen so few of these. I'm like, well, like my whole thing is I keep getting surprised by how little horror scares me. Because as a kid growing up, I was so spooked by a lot of shit. Like I was just like growing up in any degree of religious household, like I was so scared of shit.
Pulse will do
like,
it.
Yeah. Well, like I don't know. I just keep going into movies. Like I don't know. Like Midsummer was like there was some disturbing shit, but it wasn't like terrifying. I still haven't seen Hereditary, but
this is what needed to be said. This reminded me of what needed to be said.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's broaden it out from film.
Yeah.
Media that is scary, disturbing in general.
I've got some.
Here comes Silent Hill.
Well, I'm thinking of you. I'm thinking of you because you talk about video games as a medium and a form and how much when it comes to fear and the psychological element, it cannot get better than that. Right. And specifically the Silent Hill games, in my humble opinion, specifically 1, 2, 3, 4, and then PT.
Right.
And PT was
masterpiece.
In a taste of what it could have been, and it completely changed the entire horror game genre.
Yeah.
It made developers, stories, it made them reevaluate everything almost, you know?
Yeah. I mean, after we talked about it, I remember I watched that the walkthrough, just a playthrough of the game.
Which one? Oh, PT?
PT, yeah.
Oh yeah, we did talk about that.
Yeah, we talked about it months ago. And because like I've watched friends play Silent Hill over the years and Resident Evil, all these things. They're just those games. Some of those games I just never had myself. And watching that playthrough, I was sitting there like, I can't play this. I know for a fact I'm not making it through a game like this because like that immersive element.
Oh man,
where it feels like
sound design,
like the sound design,
forced to go through it.
Yeah,
where
you have to do it right.
Like in a movie,
that's peak fear. That's like if you want the thrill and you want to be fucked with, a movie can never reach that.
Right,
it just can't. It can't do it. It's not possible.
Like in Barbarian, it's like every fucking that movie reminded me of like a Futurama sketch where they're parodying Twilight Zone. They have a parody. It's called "Welcome to the Scary Door."
Yeah, the scary door.
And like every new door they walk through, the barrier I have with horror movies is like, I just wouldn't do that.
Right.
Just die. Just let him die. Right. He's downstairs. Right. I told him not to go downstairs. You're dead. That's your fault.
Right.
But like in a game, it's like, okay, I really have to contend with whether I would do this.
Yeah.
And then I have to live with the results of making the wrong choice.
Right.
Like, and if I like, and there's the capacity for them to know that. So like if you don't go through the door, there's something that's gonna get you upstairs where you're at. You know?
Do you remember the Slender Man game when that first came out?
I know Slender Man. I remember that shit spooked me so much.
Scary as
That
fuck.
shit spooked
The
me
thing
way
that's special about Silent Hill is it's all of those like primal elements, but the actual story and the themes and the dynamics between the characters, the bizarre, it's strange. You feel like you're in this in-between place when you're playing or watching these games. It doesn't, you don't feel grounded. You don't feel grounded anywhere, which is it's literally like a meta level of like disturbance going on as you're playing the game. Because you're like, is this real life? Is he hallucinating? Is he dreaming? You know, like what is this leading to?
Yeah.
And then it's like you're stumbling into these creatures that you couldn't anticipate, you couldn't even imagine or dream up. They're just these bizarre things. So it feels like you're walking through a nightmare.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then you have a Akira Yamaoka with the fucking music on top of it, which is genius. Is fucking brilliant. It's just like so many. And this is why I am so angry that my mom gave away my vintage Silent Hill t-shirts.
God damn it.
I'm sorry, Mom. She gets very emotional when I bring this up. And it's one of those things where
it's like she knows she's wrong.
Yeah, but there's no concrete proof that it happened, right? So everyone's like, oh, you can't take the leap and say that she gave away your shirts, but it's like you were rearranging. I was out of the crib and the home was being rearranged, and I came back and some of my clothes were gone. They were being given away, and the t-shirts aren't there, and I can't find them. So where did they go? I didn't lose them.
I lost my Game Boy Advance when we moved home. So.
And did they gaslight you about that?
No, I just was like, what the fuck? Like I scoured all over the place. I couldn't find it.
Yeah.
But that was on you. No one was saying.
No. That was all on me.
Yeah.
Have you heard the Tracy Morgan joke about his aunt that stole his Game Boy and helped him look for it?
No, that's fucked up.
That's one of my favorite jokes of all time.
Helping someone look for what you stole.
Committing.
Yeah,
oh man,
to
humans
the
are so funny.
Tracy Morgan is so funny to me because he has this like he's like dumb smart in the way
him
he
talking
talks.
about a Game Boy already sounds hilarious.
Right,
Yeah.
it's so funny where he's like, why did you steal my Game Boy and help me look for it? He's like, I had to eliminate myself as a suspect.
Dude, and then when you get to the VR conversation with horror, you're done.
No.
Have you seen?
See, that's where I go. No,
it's too real.
I'm good.
There's
no point. That's literally like just you're cutting yourself
that's
at
like
that point.
VR Call of
Like
Duty.
you're just you're stabbing yourself at that point.
it's
You know
so
what I mean?
freaky, bro.
That's like
There's
VR.
why would you do that?
I reacted to in college. My friend brought over a VR headset. It was just a little animation sequence where like a dinosaur, like a bronchiosaurus, like turns and then its head comes right next to you. And I was like shaking at that, like French people when that fucking Train movie came out. They were like, ah!
Have you seen the video of the dude like in the VR like set up like that, and he's playing a horror game, and then he just like turns the other way, just dead bolts like
Oh my
on
god!
like a trackpad, so he's just stuck there.
Bro,
Oh
y'all
my
have
God.
not really
Terrifying.
played VR. It is unreal. You almost feel sick afterwards. Like, you feel like it really feels like you're gone.
I talked to somebody about that who works in VR, and like one of the big challenges they have is kind of replicating the feeling of motion and things like that.
Right.
Because if you see motion, it's either if you see motion and don't feel it, or if you feel it and don't see it, that's where that nausea comes from. Like car sickness when you're staring at your phone while the car is moving.
Right.
It's the same shit.
I have a MetaQuest 2, and it's so weird because I live in an apartment in Brooklyn. I don't have a fucking like giant family room to play it around. So you make a boundary like you do with all VR shit, but like you don't want to hit shit because I have a long wingspan. So I'm like, I don't give a fuck about this boundary. I can still hit shit.
Right.
You're both aware. You both feel the dimensions of the space in the VR space, and the dimensions of your home at the same time. It's
Yeah.
like this weird like multi-awareness you have.
Yeah, right.
That sounds stressful in and of itself.
It is.
As a big person, especially.
Oh yeah,
You're
I
just
mean,
like,
I just don't want to break whatever these bones are in my hand by hitting it against the wall or something.
right.
Right.
But yeah, and there's an exercise game where they rank you on the power of your swing. So it's like you have to swing harder. Well, it's using your muscles more, but
Right.
no, VR is, we haven't even seen the tip of the iceberg in terms of
We want to heighten the odds that you could break the actual equipment, so you have to come running back to us for more.
That's right.
That's part of our business model. This is tangential, but this conversation is making me think of things in non-horror video games that scared me as a child. Like I would watch my cousins play.
I got a great one.
I would watch my cousins play the James Bond game for Nintendo 64, and they're like polygonal, like just faces scared the absolute shit out of me as a child. Like literally just getting to selecting a character, I'm like with the music.
Oh yeah.
And it's just like it's like a 666 Mafia beat. and then you just drop.
Yeah.
And then you just dropped into this world, and there's these just faces like this.
Yeah.
It just looked so bizarre to me and was unsettling.
There's a game. So I have two funny details about this. One, so I had the Harry Potter Chamber of Secrets PS2 game.
I had the first one, Harry Potter. I love that that's a meme now. Separate conversation.
The first one?
Well,
the Hagrid one. Yeah.
I love that because that was like an inside.
Well, that's like a
thing with my
PS1
siblings.
game, I think.
Yeah,
the PS2 game was Chamber of Secrets, and one funny part was like I played the first hour and a half of that game like 40 times because the word overwrite your save data scared me. I didn't want it to break the game. I was like, no, I don't want to overwrite anything. What does that mean?
You're talking about he's talking about logistical shit that scared him.
But no,
I saw the console and I just started shaking. It wasn't out of excitement. I was afraid it was going to eat me.
When the console turned on.
No, there's a lot of people that were scared by that.
Me a little bit.
There's a part in Chamber of Secrets where you're at like fucking one of the shops in Diagon Alley. Actually, you are in Diagon Alley. And you're in whatever the creepy version of that is.
Did you know it's diagonally? No, I'm kidding.
Actually, I didn't even think of
it's a play.
Yeah,
it's a play.
I'm
on
so
that.
dumb.
Actually,
I'm dead serious.
Oh damn,
that's so stupid. J.K. Rowling's naming is so stupid. But you're in like
from the creators who brought you Cho Chang.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
And
transphobia.
And transphobia. It's diagonally.
Yeah, and Jordan, whatever his Jordan Nike Dunks, whatever the kid's name is.
What?
There's a kid named like Jordan. And that's like the
his
name is Jordan.
The Quidditch anannouncer.
Yeah.
Yo, he's even a sports announcer. Man,
yes, right.
Like he had a career in Quidditch and he's
retired. But there's the Nocturne Alley, whatever the fuck that's called.
Oh yeah.
You're like trying to escape a potion shop.
Do you know? Did you get the play on words on that one too?
Nocturnally.
Nocturnally. Did you get that or not?
No, I didn't. She got me twice today.
So you walked down Ann Alley.
Right. That's like the top level. Got him.
Fuck you.
Got him.
Fuck you, J.K. Rowling. Yeah, how about this? You're named after a fucking basketball. Rowling over here.
How about this? This one's called Vagin Alley.
Right.
It's Vagin
How about
Alley.
just kidding? I don't like you, J.K.
Right.
But yeah, you're escaping a potion shop, and it's like the guy in the shop's like, "Where are you?" And he's like going around with the wand, like, "Come here!" And it's like a stealth sequence.
Wow, this is why you hate English people. Your whole life is just running away from that Englishman.
You killed my cat.
Yeah.
You killed my cat. Got to have your wits about you.
I'll kill you.
I'll kill you.
You killed my cat.
Shouldn't have told you that.
I should not have told you that. Yeah, I rewatched Harry Potter 8, I guess, the 8th movie. I'd never seen it, so I watched that, and then I watched 1 through 5. This was a couple weeks back. 1 through 5, like when I was in the process of changing jobs, we'll say. 1 through 5, and then I started 6. But yeah, those brought back a lot of memories. The freaking those early Harry Potter. Should not have told you that.
Shouldn't have told you that.
I also got to that part
Buck-beak.
in A Will to Change where she shits on Harry Potter
Bell hooks.
very accurately and fairly.
I do not
Where she's
remember.
like, yeah, well, she's basically right. It's so funny. Like, you can see how someone would read something and just
And
out
be
of
like,
frustration,
oh,
be
piss
like,
off.
yeah, like,
yeah,
fuck
you're
you,
trying
it's
to,
a reach.
trying to
But it's
ruin
like-
it.
But it's like, no, if we're being serious, yeah, Harry Potter, she's like, it's the white genius patriarch who's the smartest and bestest, and he's the
Yeah.
leader, and it
Yeah.
upholds patriarchy.
Right.
And it's so funny because it's like, she made the point. It's like,
shit is
nothing
real.
that doesn't uphold patriarchy succeeds.
Yeah.
Basically, generally speaking,
Right.
that's what she said.
Yeah.
And I was like, it was just funny reading like 40 pages, and it's like Harry Potter is being mentioned. It's like she's referencing all this like academic shit, and it's like,
well, she
Harry
did.
Potter.
She would do that a lot. I mean, she talked even about Madonna and like
And Beyonce don't.
right, Beyonce as well. Like she's always kind of been writing about pop
That's-
culture stuff.
that book.
Naruto
I was like-
upholds dynamics of
Right.
Yeah,
patriarchal
exactly.
dominance.
Well,
over-
I'm just
right.
like, you read that book and you're like, man, like not as an opinion, but it's like,
Yeah.
man, I love patriarchy still. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
Like internally, you know what I'm saying? Like internally, you're so.
Why'd you have to give the internet that soundbite? Oh my god! Can you imagine someone just clipping that out, just get rid of everything, and just taking that and be like,
Yo.
"This is your king, Connor." What? He's very misogynistic.
Take the glass.
Right.
Look, let
I'm just-
me show you this clip, and it's you just like, I kind of like being a man and on top.
Right.
I'm trying to say the exact opposite, folks.
Yes,
What I'm
yes.
trying to say is that I realize how much of like patriarchal logic,
Yes.
Yeah, right.
even in your own like self-worth or like thinking yourself attractive, even
Right.
Yeah.
is it's involved in that. And
Right.
Yeah.
that no, it's great though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like really picking shit apart.
love
I
that
was
book,
right
man.
about to speak as J.K. Rowling. Going, they're just trying to pick me apart. They're all just attacking me, trying to pick me apart, because I know a woman is a woman.
So dumb. I also saw the Fran Lebowitz. You're not safe, Franz.
Yeah.
We know.
Right.
We know
Yeah.
your transphobia. It's documented.
Right.
Look up what she said about one of Andy Warhol's superstars. Google that.
I hate that my brain said Fran's phobia as you were saying that. I really hate that I did that. I really hate that.
Look,
See?
this is a Fransphobic
Yeah.
show
Oh,
here.
yeah.
let's
Fransphobic.
go. We're Fransphobic over here.
Listen, you fucking talk like this. You talk really fast, and then you're cultural.
And that's credibility. That's
and
what,
you write
yeah.
for Rolling Stones, and you're a Fran
It's so funny, like us saying this now, because when we were first talking about it, it was a nuanced, because we were talking about the gatekeep cultural whatever component, and that's like a part of her reputation, I guess.
But it's like, you
yeah.
motherfucking Gen Z amnesiacs. Like, okay, if you're gonna do it for everybody. Like, whoa, Mark Wahlberg. Okay, well, I'm seeing Fran Lebowitz getting thousands of likes for like, she fucking
Really?
rules. Yeah, on
Really?
Twitter. So I'm just like,
oh,
well, you got to know that too, pal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I had somebody hit me up after the last recording who didn't know about the Dave Bowie shit.
Oh,
The David
A lot of
Bowie.
people
man.
don't know about that shit.
Wow.
A lot of people. Yeah, that's.
I when I was saying like sorry, I didn't really think that. I thought people already knew that. Like, but-
Yeah.
You're
yeah.
insulated. People
Yeah.
do not know that shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was one of those ones. I was like, everybody must have heard, right? It always comes up right after they die. Is the thing that they did that people aren't talking about.
Yeah.
You know.
This makes me think of the conversation in a black context where it's like weighing black abusers against the white ones and like
Yeah.
the treatment and
Yeah.
being like, look, we
Dog.
have to protect R. Kelly because David Bowie gets away with it.
Dog.
You know, it's like
Dog. The fucking
You mentioned like the
You
Cosby
empathize-
Weinstein
you
dynamic.
empathize with it because you're like, yeah,
Oh.
yes, of course that's going on, but
Right.
like
yeah. because there's that dynamic of
No,
racial.
We are the ones with integrity here. We're the ones. Let's be better people. Like we have the better. There's better cultural shit going on here.
Yeah.
We have values. That's.
I mean, dog, every now and then I'll go back and look at the comments on my Comedy Central special because I have that bit about R. Kelly, and it's just a fucking hellscape. There's the special on the as a whole where the comments are mostly positive, and then there's the clip they cut of just the R. Kelly bit.
Oh no shit!
And dog, the people, bro, they posted it on Facebook, and those comments are like,
oh man,
just like
Facebook is like
I can't even be on there, bro. I got back on.
I got Facebook. I did the gargantuan task of deleting my Facebook.
I might have to just say fuck my Spotify account.
Yeah, just archive everything if you want to do that, and then
on Spotify.
You can archive your Facebook.
I only listen to things on Resonate, to be honest.
Digital Zion is a campaign to.
And let's just do it right here.
Now.
Right.
Platforms like YouTube, Patreon, Spotify, they're all ass. They don't respect your privacy, they're riddled with ads, and they're completely silent and unreachable when you need help. Have you ever talked to somebody at YouTube? Think about that. I sure haven't. To top it all off, we don't control them at all, despite being the reason they exist.
So that's why we're partnering with a design and development agency called Sanctuary Computer to build our own cooperative alternatives that bring the best features of all those platforms together and that we can control together too.
We seriously got to have an exodus to some sort of digital Zion that we build ourselves. Somewhere where all of us can actually have a say over the technology that we're using to communicate with each other. For more on how you can support us all in getting off these shitty platforms, visit opencollective.com/digital Zion and tap in.
Just because these dystopian systems are eating themselves alive
doesn't mean they gotta take us with them.
And we're back.
Anyways. Okay.
Anyways, got that out of the way.
Right. I did delete my Facebook, but I started a new one because I realized, like, all my family's on Facebook. I don't like have all their numbers and shit.
I have a group chat with my families now, so
I do too. But
fuck the messaging. Fuck.
Yeah, I just have
I said families plural.
With my families, with my fams.
I was thinking both sides of the family.
Yeah,
we have the. I could not keep up on Facebook. I just cannot.
Yeah,
no,
that is like that is like a LinkedIn. It's literally like a LinkedIn
for your
relatives.
Just,
I stayed on that shit during the Bernie campaign to piss off people, and then I was gone.
Yeah,
after that,
that's funny as fuck. If LinkedIn was all just like the little job description was just your cousin.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, tying the family relations in.
Yeah, right. But like
Meta just bought LinkedIn, and so we're gonna do that.
Dude, I saw the funniest tweet today. Meta posted like, legs are coming soon to the metaverse, and someone tagged Greg out.
Legs
like the avatars aren't just gonna be fucking like flying saucers anymore. They'll actually have legs.
I was wondering what the fuck that was about. I saw somebody tweeted like a pic of Ursula and Ariel from Little Mermaid. The caption, funny. Legs are coming soon.
Yeah.
What a freak.
Yeah.
We were talking about something though, I forget.
R. Kelly.
Oh yeah, we were getting into all that.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's just like
the clip they cut out. It did well on it did poorly on Facebook. But
wait, what clip is this?
The clip of me talking about R. Kelly.
Oh, right, from the special. Okay.
Yeah, and it's like people are so.
Hope she sees this, bro.
Hope she sees this. Oh, that's how people were responding?
Well, no, people are like.
I don't think so.
Wait,
the comments on Facebook are so toxic.
You say Facebook, and then I'm just like,
yeah,
where are we right now?
No, I just looked at the comments one time, and it was like they were so toxic to the point where people are like questioning my allegiance to my blackness or whatever.
Right,
because,
this is shit. Yeah.
And like a bunch of comments like, oh, he must have wrote this for white people, or he must have.
It's like a black version of like party line, protect the party.
Exactly,
like,
and it's
the
like
outward. We have to look a certain way,
right? And we have to like
comparison to white people and whiteness, but it's with all this rhetoric of being decentering whiteness at the same time, which is like
and it's like we have to keep intra-communal dialogue inside the community. When it's like, don't you want to project an image that when people like this do arise, which they will, that we handle them in a way that is worth looking up to,
right?
Don't you
aspiring to, right?
Exactly. It's like, do you want to have people like, and it pisses me off because I've had the experience where white people look at me and are just like, well, isn't the black community like super homophobic, or aren't they super this or that? And it's just like,
right.
Do we want to like
white people, isn't homophobia and patriarchy the norm?
Yeah, like, and isn't like that being legislated by a mostly white government?
You're gonna find most people that are thinking race when they're saying this too. They don't even understand the cultural and racial distinction.
Right.
So they're thinking of race. It's like, I'm pretty sure if you go into any racial category, homophobia is the norm.
It's there. Yeah. And
there's so many intersecting things beyond that.
It's beyond race, right?
Like
exactly.
Class also, and sex and everything.
Right. And it's like, it's like we can have this insular discussion and like try to project this idea of like, yeah, we protect our heroes and we stick up for our great men and all this shit. But like at a certain point, we gotta have this discussion in good faith and say like, not just like we're protecting these people from attacks from white people, but like, and we can even have that part of the discussion. We can even say,
yeah, there's some racist shit going on.
Yeah, there is some racist shit going on. And we can even say we're insulating these people from that part of the discussion. But we can also say, once they're here with us, we're handling this shit. And we're not just saying
faking.
Lying, we're not faking and lying and like being disingenuous about this to the point where we're saying like the epitome of greatness as a black man is to have a harem of black women, or in this case a harem of black girls. You know, like is that the peak to y'all? Is that what it's about? Because if it's about that, it can be about that, and we can just be honest about what it is and what we're doing.
And the human aspects of it, the aspects of it that transcend race. It's like, look, people of other racial categories and ethnic categories do the same exact shit.
Yeah.
It happens all around the world.
We can be honest
you could draw a connection there.
Right. Yeah, and tackle this shit on the broader scale.
It does go beyond race.
Right.
Actually.
Then you can start having structural and organizational and systemic conversations.
Yes.
Now we're talking about the root of the real fucking problem.
Yeah.
I did want to say on that, and I know you would agree with me, it's like, none of this also is to say that, yeah, there are certain conversations that you want to be, that should just be black people. Because there are cultural disconnects, and there are just things. It's like being a black person and being in the public eye and then talking to other black people, but your shit is popular with outside of just black community. And now you got all these people from other cultures and backgrounds trying to interpret how you talk with another black person. And they don't, because they don't understand it. They don't understand how we talk, how we communicate. They start criticizing, they start judging, they start doing all these different things that really stem from this cultural disconnect. It's like, no, you just, it's like speaking another language or whatever. But but also this thing of this entitlement and like this thing of like pushing your way into what's clearly a black conversation.
We're entitled to input on how y'all address this issue or how y'all converse with each other.
Right.
Just because we have a view into the conversation y'all are having, now we get to have input on how that conversation
which is wild.
It's insane.
And it's not just white people, by the way. Let's just be clear.
You gotta give a take on everything.
Right. And let's just be clear. It's not just white people. It's like other quote unquote people of color, POC, that do this shit too. It's like, and no, like, our experiences are not the fucking same. Like, it's just,
dog, that shit is the most frustrating shit to me when people just jump in and be like, we're just, and it'll be on some like overtly racist shit too.
Yeah,
where people
right.
like jump in and try to be like, yeah, we're the same, bro. We got the same experience. Yo, you're my nigga. Like, what? Huh?
I haven't had that happen yet.
I've had that happen to me.
God.
I had to have. I had a.
I'm Albanian.
No, I had
I'm a quarter Argentinian.
I had that conversation with a Peruvian dude I worked with in L.A.
Oh no.
LA is the most racist place I've ever lived in. And like
this is from someone that grew up in Georgia,
yes.
in the South.
And look, I'm not
in
like
Alabama, right?
There's gonna be people like, you've never
Georgia,
been to Boston then.
Yeah.
Not you.
Yeah. And that's like I
going through every race. Not you.
Not you.
Not you.
Not you.
Not you. Not you.
Yeah. But like this is having gone to a private school in Birmingham, Alabama. Everybody I know from high school is now a white civil rights lawyer. It's the weirdest shit. And LA is a discussion for maybe the end of this conversation.
No, I was just like, that's interesting.
Yeah, but like LA was just a different animal because people try to like relate to you and then use that to. They immediately try to abuse the relationship. Like
POC is one of the worst things that happen to Black and Indigenous.
Yeah, bro. It's because everybody it gives people an umbrella to feel like they have the same experience.
BLM? Me too.
Me too.
Me too. My life, it's literally saying my life matters too, but you're hinging it on that you're riding the coattails of a specific
BIPOC LM, bro.
Right.
BIPOC LM, like
BIPOC LM.
But like,
holy shit.
Yeah, but like this dude, the conversation with this dude was like day one at work. He was trying to call me my nigga, my like before and this was a big problem in this workplace is nobody knew my fucking name for real. People kept trying to invent.
Wow, being called that before your own name.
Yeah, and like, I have a problem with like letting people have even just a nickname because I'm like, I know my name is difficult to you. I need to know that you got it before you start trying to abbreviate. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't even know what the fuck you're shortening. And so I have that complex with people, and I try to assert like, I'm Yedoye to you, and then maybe I can give you Ye or Doye or whatever. But this dude day one was trying to call me my nigga, and I was like, yo, no, it's not. We don't do that. We're not like, this is not what you think it is. And then I had this conversation with him over and over and over, and then finally he was just like, yo, what's wrong with my nigga? And I'm like, dog, first of all, you can't in the inquiry. Maybe withhold a little bit.
What's wrong with blank?
Well, yeah. I'm just like,
it's like that John Mulaney joke.
Yeah, and I regret phrasing it this way. I'm just like, bro, I don't know you. I don't know you like that. I don't know your experience. I don't know where you're coming from when you're calling me this. And I just don't like it. I don't like you. You're like, at the very least, like it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter the rationale I give you. The fact that I'm telling you don't call me that should be enough. Like, why do I have to explain my boundaries?
The challenging of it is the craziest, almost the craziest part.
Exactly. And
what do you mean?
Yeah,
like, what do you mean?
Right. And I gave him this rationale, and he kind of sat on it for a second, and he like kind of took it in, and I felt like he was getting where I was coming from, and then he goes, "Oh."
He goes, "My nigga."
Jake. Yeah, right. Drink this, Jake. It'll even you out. No, he like thinks on it and he goes, "Okay, so I gotta earn it." No.
What?
What?
Oh my god.
That's what you got from that? After all,
and he's also
shit?
just further exposing himself,
right? How
he relates to that in Black people when he says that.
Exactly.
Like, you can earn
it is so gross.
Right.
Earn the right to use it, but also that contradicts his presenting as the idea that he could say it the whole time.
Well, it's the entitlement that it should be on the table.
But I'm saying he was acting like he could say it from the jump, but then him saying that is him recognizing that he knew there was a problem from the beginning.
Right.
But he was just going to do it anyways.
Right. And hope that I didn't say shit, or hope I make the assumption like treat him like a Fat Joe, where I'm like, oh, he got people behind him. I don't know. I don't want to check him on this. It's like
Fat Joe, dude.
It's like, bro.
Oh no.
And the reality is
can of worms convo.
Yeah. I mean, I had this conversation with somebody the other day. It's like the reality is,
oh man,
because when you get into somebody like that, the reality is the word is that word is always backed up by violence. You know what I'm saying? It's like me asserting that you can't say it. If we can't get past this point of like, it's a respect thing, ultimately the next level is like, all right, I'm gonna beat your ass.
Right.
That's all it is.
Right.
What else do I have? What other defense do I have?
Right.
And if I don't beat your ass, maybe you beat my ass while calling me that word, and then I got the law behind me. It's like right. That's all. Those are the only mechanisms there. You know what I'm saying? And it's a little bit like what? Like I don't even know the point I'm trying to make. It's just kind of like. Well, either respect it, or it gets, or we reveal what's really behind this.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
and the other way around. It's like you, as a non-black, I don't mean to point at you, but like as a non-black person saying that word to me, ultimately either I check you on it,
right,
or you're in a position to be like, or I fuck you up.
Right.
And there's not really that much else to it. You know what I'm saying? It's like it doesn't matter term of endearment, whatever you feel about it. It's like that's what's behind it. You know?
And also just like speaking also to LA, or not just LA, but California, I guess you were saying. Yeah, it's very different over there.
Yeah.
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 Although I guess there's some of that in New York City. Also, you guys have mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, there's a dynamic, you know.
Well, that's why I said can of worms with talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
Take a look at my life, Fat Joe.
Yeah.
Crack.
And who gonna tell me that I can't say nigga?
Yeah, cause like in New York City,
that's a real lyric.
I know.
and other black people don't all feel the same way about this, which is even more of a reason. If you're not black, like, and you have respect for black people, the minimum should be, how do you feel? And okay, like, you know, I respect that or whatever, but especially interrogating white supremacy more broadly, interrogating chattel slavery more broadly in these systems more broadly, because when you do that, you're organically, after a certain amount of time, probably going to be like, yeah, I don't want to say that anymore at all.
Right.
But that's a big ask for a lot of people, especially if you're not black and you grew up in the hood, you didn't have access, and you grew up around mostly black people,
right?
And you're in black community, and no one has a problem with that, and they see you as a part of community. And that's always been like when I was growing up, the rule was, it was kind of like, you know, when you encounter someone who's not black and they say nigga, you know, people know it's like, oh, like, yeah, nah, this is cool. Like, I don't have a problem with it. And it'll be brown people, it'll be people from all types of backgrounds.
Right.
And that's what it was like. But even then, you know, it depends on where you grew up, the environment you grew up in, your own respective values, the values your parents as black people instilled in you, that shapes how you know, deal with all of that. But this is kind of going rewinding a little bit back to the POC conversation. I might be stirring the pot for real getting into this, but I feel like it is such an important discussion, and Zach and I were actually talking about this because I'm trying to make the concrete link and connection to what we were just talking about. I guess what made me think about it was the comment someone made to you about, oh, isn't homophobia like a big thing in the quote unquote black community?
Yeah.
And it made me think about this conversation I was just having with Zach. The broadened out, you know, zoomed out part of the conversation is something we talk about all the time. We've been talking about for years, about how we still get race and ethnicity and like culture and all these different things very confused.
Yeah.
Everyone does. Everyone does. Even Black people, African people. Like I've met African people, like they're first generation or second generation African American. I'm saying I also understand myself as African, so I'm not saying that to be anti-African, but I'm saying first, second generation, right, immigrant family, and they grow up in a predominantly Black American community, so they grow up having Black skin and being in this culture, and then they end up being confused later on in life because they're realizing that because of their family's history and the dynamics of that and cultural dynamics, that how they're navigating out in society and the world isn't culturally it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not, maybe racially it's perceived as the same, but they know, wait, there's a separation here, there's a difference here, and then it creates these, for some of them, existential crises where they're like, who am I? What am I actually?
I mean, having both experiences.
Well, I've said this before. We said it at the live show. You're Nigerian and Black American, so it's like even more of a annoying, irritating thing probably going on, in terms of that.
Like when you think about intra or intercommunal conflict in this context, it's like being part of two separate communities that kind of reinforce all types of fucked up notions about each other. You know what I'm saying? And I have all of those things internalized to where I'm just kind of like, who the fuck am I? Do I even like me? You know what I'm saying? And it's like,
but it's
like
got to be even more confusing being also African Black. Like we're African Black people.
Yeah.
And then there's this cultural shit going on, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like,
I mean, it's like I was in Nigeria in August. And it's like there is a disconnect in both scenarios, because it feels like I've got something that you don't, and you have something that I don't, in the sense of like a wholeness and like just kind of comfort in your cultural identity, where over here I can claim Nigeria all I want, and the more we talk about it, the less inclined I am to do that, just in the sense of like nation state identity and all these things. But I can claim that, or I can claim Ijo all I want. But the reality is, I go to Nigeria and they look at me. I stand out, partly because there are just certain like little things about being American where you just physically kind of look different. You can see it on somebody's face that they're not African in that sense, or they're not American in that sense. And then also there's just cultural shit, and there's like specifically, like if I go to Anguiamo, where my grandma is from, it's like they just know I'm not from there. They don't see me, you know what I'm saying? And so you're kind of hit with that when you actually are in it. And that goes so deep to where like I was getting my passport checked at the airport. Somebody saw my middle name, which is my mom's last name, Opigo. And they start talking to me in Ijo, and I'm kind of like, I don't. You got to look at the last name, dog. It's Travis. Travis.
That's fine.
And he was looking at me crazy, like, "Oh, you don't know where you're from." Like,
then it's the Akata shit, or the what's the cat? Do you know what I'm talking about?
That's not even a phrase that was in my life. I've seen the discourse on it online,
Let me
but
see
like
if I got that right.
It wasn't a thing that was in my life. But yeah, and like, granted, this dude was really pressing me about, like, he was asking like, where am I coming from? Where am I from? And I was just, and I didn't know what to tell him. I was like, I don't know, Bayelsa. What do you ask? What information are you asking me for? Like, Port Harcourt, Bayelsa. And I finally said the name of the village, Anguiamo. And then he goes, oh, okay, now he knows.
Wow.
And he was like pressing me like that. And I was just like, dog, first of all, you got to be clear about what you're asking me. But also, like,
just also customs and borders and shit.
Yeah, and it's like I'm feeling that pressure. Well, it's not even the border shit. That's a different conversation. But like the conversation of like
But this was like a customs officer looking at your passport, I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, and like trying to check me on like, do you know where you come from?
Right.
In that cultural sense.
Like he believes that you're from there, but he's trying to check you on that.
No, I mean like he's trying to be like, do you culturally identify and do you like respect?
But like his job is just to verify your passport.
Oh, I mean,
you're from where you're from. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but he wasn't doing it in that way. He was.
No, I know. It's like he's going way extra.
Yeah, and he's doing it in a sense of like, yeah, I'm gonna let you through, obviously, but like, what's up?
It's like
what's up? You know, and
I brought this up though specifically for all of this, but also the conversation Zach and I were having. This is where it gets a little spicy, but please, if you're a Black African, however you identify, please be patient and please just like have an open mind as I start talking, and I will clarify. I really have to give that.
I won't repeat it again. I already said what I said about patriarchy in the soundbite. So
right, I have to give this preface because it's like a very sensitive discussion point, and people can be very reactive, and they'll jump. They think they got you figured out from the, because it's a nuanced thing. So you got to just take the pieces and then let me put them together. But and I hope Zach doesn't mind me talking about this. I don't think he would, but we were just having a conversation about how this is tied to the POC conversation, the people of color conversation. That extends to an African diaspora context as well.
Yeah.
So we have, and I really don't rock with ADOS. I do not rock with these like chauvinistic, reactionary, Black tendencies, if we want to call them that, are about, are quote unquote, not quote unquote, they're anti-immigrant, they're anti-African. They act like Black people just came out of the ground in North America a few centuries ago, and then we've been here ever since. Not that we came from Africa a few centuries ago, which is not a long time ago. I'm not coming from that camp when I say this, but I'm saying that it's a systemic thing. It's not just like, it's not as maybe an intentional thing as some of these ADOS types might like to think. But it's a systemic and structural thing where behind the ambiguity around Blackness as a concept, racially, ethnically, people not knowing what we're really talking about, you now have in entertainment a whole crop of, and it's predominantly West African people who, in the roles that they're playing, the whatever, they're in these roles as a Black American person, essentially, unless it comes up and they say I'm Nigerian, but there's this unspoken understanding of I am being perceived as a Black American specifically, or however you want to call it, Black American, New African, basically Black African people that have roots going back centuries in North America. That is what I'm talking about. That's who we're talking about. And it's really painful and like frustrating because that a part of the reason this is happening is structural. It's because people who do come from this specific history do not have the same access, do not have the same social and cultural history and context that people, immigrating from Africa might have, West Africa might have. And so this ends up feeding a part of the, what we call the diaspora wars. Yeah. This, like African people going at it against each other, especially, and I think we've talked about it before, especially like post Windrush, like West Indian, Caribbean people in the UK and shit, and African people in the UK, right? And Black Americans. There's just this disgusting, vitriolic. Have we talked about it on here or just privately?
I think
it's
just
hard
privately.
for me to.
I don't think.
Yeah, I think we've only talked about it privately up until this point, but and it's like it does. Part of it is like, what mythologies are we making in our minds about this whole thing and responding to and creating problems that aren't there. But there is this part guess I'll speak for myself as a black person, where sometimes it feels like when you get more specific, when you try and say, no, I am trying to build specifically with people that come from this culture and this background, my culture, my background.
Right.
There's people almost take offense to that because it's implied that you doing that is anti other African people. Yeah, exclusionary, anti other African people, anti other people in general. When it's really coming from this place of no. It's like when there's this clip where Suge Knight's talking about Tupac and he's saying Tupac didn't hate other racial and ethnic people from other racial and ethnic groups. He just knew that we had it harder.
Right.
And we needed more help. That's the only reason why he would place that focus and that emphasis and opened up more of a chance, had more patience, more resources to people from our specific background. And it gets so fucked. The discourse gets so fucked when you look at that and then you zoom out to the broader discourse and we're talking about diversity and representation and we're back to we're just talking about the racial thing. Yeah. And that's where the confusion happens. That's where the shit I was talking about earlier happens. Someone who doesn't actually come from my background and history can swoop in because maybe our skin color is the same. I'm light skinned, so we already know what it is, but that's a conversation in and of itself. Right, but black people more broadly culturally, they'll have the same skin color, and then I forgot
I was wearing these.
Sorry, I liked it. Y'all were both wearing them, so it's like, but yeah, they can come in, and then now you got black people feeling like, what the fuck? What the fuck? And they're also like, no, we don't. You're not actually.
You've mentioned this before.
Yeah.
About
and
certain films you've seen.
You know what? I can speak to that in an even broader context of just like all of Hollywood, where it kind of feels like, particularly knowing the legacy of like black shows on TV, they're 90% of the time written by white people.
Right.
Where it's like somebody from a different cultural background might not have the understanding of this situation to even be able to perceive this as racist or as perpetuating fucked up things about black identity and black people. You know what I'm saying? And so like you can have, and granted, to be fair to a lot of other African people, it's like or West African people, it's like I'm thinking about people like, I was just in Houston. There's a huge Nigerian population that's just integrated in the community in Houston. Like I'm thinking about like Toby Wigwe is a rapper that just blew up out of there, who's like, he is as much an Igbo man as he is a Southern Houston dude. So it's like you have those cultural just intersections where there are just as many people who are prepared for that position as there are people who aren't. And the people who are producing these things just have no way of discerning. Yes. They just say like, oh, he could play the part. He was really good. And I've felt that tension myself in like roles I've been in or whatever. Like not even that anything I was in was like, there's also this dynamic of like cultural neutering of black people on TV where there are white people who are so afraid to make any type of assumptions about blackness that the black characters they write are just completely moot and dead. Yes. And so I've felt that dynamic of just like, what the fuck am I even portraying? And I think it invites interrogation of the entire system more than it does just the choices of individual actors. You know what I'm saying? Because these are still
that's
people,
what I was trying to get at earlier.
And these are people that ultimately, regardless of how you look at it, regardless of where they come from, everybody in this situation needs work. Right. And has to take what comes to them to a degree where it's like, so we can make this about diaspora wars all we want, and we can make this about like, oh, you played this character, you made this choice, or blah, blah, blah. But ultimately it's like all of these people, it's systemic, and all of these people are being emotionally or financially manipulated into perpetuating all types of fucked up shit about each other. And then going back and getting blamed or blaming other people for the complicity that they had, when the reality is there is a whole umbrella of people above them that put them in this position to begin with.
Right.
And that's not to entirely discount people's choices. You know, some
Right,
people
right,
are in a financial position where they can turn down certain shit. But the overarching position for most people is not that.
So it's like looking at that and going, there is a logic of white supremacy and capitalism intertwined at play here.
Yeah.
So what does it mean to do something different from that? What are the values? What are the protocols? What opportunities are opened up to who's prioritized in that? And that, there's a lot of specific and practical and actionable things that I think can be explained in that context. But I wanted to add another layer of spice now on top of what we're already talking about. Like, go even deeper with this shit. You talking about homie who, is he Nigerian?
Toby Wigwe?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Igbo.
And he grew up in Houston?
In Houston, yeah.
So we're talking about, so there's a lot of shit going on there, right? He's an African man, and he's tied to this Nigerian culture, but he also is growing up in Black community as a person with Black skin.
Yeah.
So there is a cultural element to his upbringing that is Black.
Yeah.
Like, just like we're talking about non-Black people that are growing up in Black communities to the point where they're saying nigga, to where maybe they go outside the community and someone says, what the fuck? Why are you? And they're like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Right. So that's what I'm saying when we're talking about like culture, like that's the type of shit that we're really getting at. And the stirring the pot thing and the mind fuck of it all is when you start interrogating identity in general, like from that point. And what I mean by that is we don't all really know where we come from.
Yeah.
We don't actually know. Even if you get a DNA test and it's saying, oh, you're whatever percent, blah, 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 blah. Culturally, you don't know the chain link that got you to where you are.
Right.
You don't actually know that. You just maybe know, if you're lucky, you got a few generations back, and then that sort of shapes your idea of like what your community is and what your culture is or whatever. Yeah. But if you keep going back, it's all these shifting cycles, definitions, terms, borders, boundaries, flags. It's all changing. It's all shifting.
Yeah.
It's not a static thing. Identity is it's never been that.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of puts me in this train of thought of like trying to have these conversations about what's going on within a certain scope of time. You don't say what I just said just to go, so identity doesn't matter. We're post-racial, bro. We're post-ethnicity. We're post-culture, bro. Like, we're just all fucking cogs in the machine. It's just about class, man. Yeah. It's like, you don't do that. You don't do that, right? But for me, in my mind, my resolve is I look at a certain, I think about it within a scope, a frame of time, and what's gone on systemically, structurally, institutionally, and who's been slighted within that and how they've been slighted.
Yeah.
And accounting for that, taking that with us in the building of new systems and logics.
Right.
So that there's a reparative element, but it's not reparations. It's not a reparative element within the confines of an exploitative, authoritarian social logic.
Yeah,
right. No, we're carrying that into the building of new community. If we're talking about entertainment, where it's cooperative, it's communal, we're thinking about creating our own safety net, meeting our own material needs, all these different things. That element of what's happened the last few hundred years looks concretely like, okay, we have land. Are we talking to indigenous people that have roots here and they can trace their history back hundreds, thousands of years by their names, right? Because they've been doing that.
Yeah.
We have space here. Are we going to poor and working class Black American people or people who come from these communities and prioritizing them and offering up the space that we do have so that they can go and work with us and so on and so forth.
Right.
If you don't have any of these frameworks, this is just a clusterfuck of a discourse that it's like, what are we even what are you even talking about? I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine if I didn't have this sort of framing about it. I don't even know how I would partake in the quote unquote discourse at this point in time, you know?
It's just like Olympics at a certain point. It's just oppression Olympics. And either we can
for
go
a check or for a whatever.
And we can either go the route that you're talking about, the liberatory route, where we actually look at all these things in a good faith way and say, like, are all these people's needs ultimately being met? And are we accounting for all the intersections of trauma and oppression that all these people have experienced? Or are we going the other route and you got to admit that there are niggas in Mexico that are way more oppressed than you and have more stock in this, like, in the history of chattel slavery than you do? You know what I'm saying?
They win.
Like, they win. They got it.
You lose.
They got it. And they're oppressed by our fucking border bullshit. It's like, when does it end? You know what I'm saying? And there's the element of, like, African people having their population siphoned out of there in the interest of creating this project over here and not being able to develop that these communities for hundreds of years because the population was fucking static. You know, because every working every able-bodied person is being siphoned out to to develop capitalism. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got to consider all of these intersections. And there is that combative element now, but
because we're coerced into competing with each other. That's what's incentivized. It's just like, I gotta get one up over on the whatever person. You know, I gotta get what I can get. It's like that clip where Richard Pryor's, you know, he's talking about it in the context of white supremacy and capitalism. He's like, if I was a white working class man, or poor man, I'm taking whatever the fuck I'm taking the psychological wage of whiteness with me to the motherfucking bank. You know, like I'm taking that shit, and I'm like, well, shit, by golly, they gave it to me, I'm running with it. You know, like this is what Richard Pryor was saying. You know, but no, what weird our shit is like, no, fucking reject that shit because it's ultimately just crumbs in the context of something that's fucking you over at the end of the day anyways. And we could really just cooperate with each other to, you know, not have to deal with bosses and deal with being limited, even in a creative context. Like,
and for the white people, when you do reject that, not in the interest of this fucking bullshit, we're post-racial shit. It's like,
and also not on some moralistic shit.
Not on the moralistic.
To be a good person, fuck that shit. No, we're talking about you. We're talking about your well-being too.
It's like, celebrate your own fucking culture to the extent that that's what raised you, that's what brought you up, that's what you have pride in, and acknowledge the intersections with this power structure that you've been coerced into being a part of. And that you do,
if you do have a culture to
if you grew up identifying,
there's a culture.
It's like
it's a rich they call Alabama the Crimson Tide.
I think what you meant to say was Roll Tide. Roll Tide is what you meant to say.
God, this conversation.
The stars
so
at night are big and bright, deep in the heart of Texas.
I gotta say, I personally have never heard anyone talk about this before.
Not in any
type of not in a way
that ties all the threads together. Everybody kind of leaves it open-ended and tries to do this kumbaya shit of just like, you know,
let's all get together. We're all humans.
Just take all that, put it aside.
It's like, you know who else does that? Fucking niggas like Enrique Tarrio, fucking Proud Boy president or whatever the fuck, where he gets to be like, well, I'm a Latino. You think this can really be a white supremacist organization if I'm a Latino?
That's so hard. You had his name ready.
Yeah, bro.
I don't know that motherfucker's name.
I think about that man a lot, bro. I don't know. Just like, that's the example.
That's
like, damn, he's got it bad.
I'm just like, that's the example that's at the tip of my tongue all the time when that many T's. But like that's who I'm always waiting to like just the way that, to the extent that I can, I wanna like know where the fuck he's coming from and like sympathize with him to the extent that I'm physically capable of, where I'm just like, how did you get fucking poisoned into this position where you think these people give a fuck about you?
Yeah. It's related to Kanye too.
It is related to Kanye.
Not to be the topical person.
I was going to mention that how anti-Semitism gets defended.
Yeah, where he can say shit like, "Well, I can't be anti-Semitic because actually Jews are black." Or the tweet was like, actually the Jew are black or some shit like that. But it's like
he can't even spell insanely irresponsible fucking tweets correctly.
Yeah, I'm going
DEFCON 3.
DEFCON 3.
It's DEFCON. Dude.
Yeah, bro. And I'm just like, and to that extent,
don't even have the decency to be wrong correctly.
Yeah, right.
It's DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. Okay.
Right. I'm just like, and to that extent, I'm just like, we are kind of in a post-racial society because anybody, regardless of skin color or whatever the fuck, can promote capitalism and if not white supremacy, then like Western hegemony,
right,
which is the new substitute for the same shit. Where ultimately, no matter what you're doing, you're suppressing all these, just the value and input of all of these different intersections of people. Saying the implication that the values of indigenous people don't matter, the values of African people don't matter. All of these groups of people that had a critique from jump of the shit you're trying to promote. All of that shit doesn't matter because we have this forward progressive view of society that that even though it was so dope, somehow white people had to like manipulate and fucking point guns at people for 500 years to force them into this lifestyle. But that's a superior way to structure community and humanity. Okay, cool. And because you're a brown or indigenous or black person who's been poisoned by this mindset, now you think you get to validate the whole thing just because of your existence within it?
Right. Yeah, that's how it is in the sense still racial, and then it becomes a question of, are you aware of what you're doing? Are you aware of how what you're playing into and who's playing you?
It's useful idiot discourse, bro.
Right, exactly. Right. And it's like, I'm curious maybe what the root, not to try and psychoanalyze Kanye, but I'm curious what could ultimately be the root of wanting validation so bad from white people and white institutions and white industries. Like, and it's not just Kanye. Kanye is a kind of an extreme example of something that goes on more widespread and in deeper ways within black context than more black people would like to admit. Even in, with black people who, they claim to be revolutionaries, but their idea of what we should be aspiring to is still defined by colonial structures. It's still defined by holding ourselves to what the white people have and what the white people have done.
Well, you know what? I was working on a joke this past weekend that I ended up not trying, but like the big punchline was like, ultimately, I'm starting to think this Bill Cosby guy's not that great a guy. But like the point being that when people talk about Cosby and how he fucked up, they're talking about the obvious, the rape aspect, the sexual assault aspect, the hypocrisy, which Norm Macdonald has a great joke about. But they're not interrogating the reality of like positioning like black respectability as this thing that is worth that should be attained and that is accessible. And that's the big problem I have with like with blackness and black people on TV is that we frame it in where all the like milestones on black TV are like basically some version of we're just like you.
Right.
We can be just like you. When the reality is like, I don't want to fucking be like you, dog. I don't.
You is fucked up.
You're fucked up.
This is fucked up.
Yeah. And so just like even the parts of Cosby that everybody fucking that people still won't let go of.
He was
those
a
parts are
doctor.
fucked up too. Like
he was a doctor. He had a brownstone.
Like I don't want to have to be a doctor to be worth your fucking to be a human human to you. I don't want to have to do that.
Right.
You know, and that's the problem I have. Part of the problem I have with my upbringing in general is like I have these fucked up senses of like self-worth because like especially coming from a West African household.
Right.
There's this expectation to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, all of these things, and I'm just like, okay, well, if I can't do that, then who the fuck am I?
Right.
What do I, you know?
Right. So to have that going on collectively at a psychological level as a black, as black people is a mind fuck.
Right.
You
and
know?
It almost makes you feel like if you can't attain certain things, it's like, okay, you're not black anymore. You don't get to represent us. You don't get. It's like
when people talk about, Africa. I'm putting, for people only listening to the audio, I'm using scare quotes here. Yeah. They're talking about Africa as being underdeveloped, right? And like, it's like, where's your nation state, bro?
Yeah.
Where's your name? You're telling me you're great. You're a great people. You're telling me you're human. Y'all haven't even got a centralized government and military and repressive police force set up.
Violent military orders.
It's not legit to me. Like,
that's such a fucking.
And then that's obviously the other side is like the white supremacists and fascists. They're genetically
see, the thing is, they're genetically incapable of attaining these fucking outlandish standards we've set for them.
These are just the facts. They have a lower IQ. There's nothing. I'm not a racist for pointing that out. These are just the facts. It's got
nothing to do with us coming into their society and imposing a
20% of my penis is 60% of the way man.
I don't know why care about your feelings.
I don't know why that reminds me. Have I mentioned on the show that like a pretty famous black dude, like black actor,
You're not gonna name him. I'm not gonna pressure.
I don't know.
I'm just
man.
I'm being an asshole.
You know what? Actually, I tweeted it once. I talked about it online one time, and I mentioned it, and I didn't name him, and then mad people were in my DMs like,
oh yeah, I remember
this dude, and I was like, yep. So maybe just like telling the story will. I really have to pee, and I feel like I'm.
Yeah, you guys are spitting right now, and I gotta go because I have to be up early as fuck.
Oh damn! What time is it?
It's almost 11.
Yeah, oh, okay.
Almost 11. I'm like, this is so good. And I'm so inconvenienced by it. But...
Guys, donate to the Open Collective, and Connor won't have to get up early, and we can go rogue in 6 hours.
Figure that.
Yeah, not have to worry about time as much. We can just entertain you all.
Wow. Think about that.
Oh god.
I literally woke up this morning and I said, "Fuck! I do not want to get up." I said that out loud.
Right.
It was like 7 a.m.
Right.
Oh man. Yeah.
There's wage slavery still going on, folks. With the Jaded Forum.
Don't have a choice.
So the more bread y'all can put up, the more it helps us. And tell your friends.
We all love you. You guys rule. I like how our Discord's feverish. The feverish fandom in the Discord.
We've got feverish fandom going on in the Discord.
Jaded fever sweeps the nation.
Sweeps the nation.
This new idea, cooperation. Operation Cooperation.
Oh, they're back on. Let's go. Okay.
I gotta go though, so we're ending this show,
Okay.
unfortunately. Although, honestly, We all can keep
just
going.
like the white man to end the black man. Just to end the black discourse.
Let me get out of here.
Can you imagine that TikTok comment?
Yeah, right.
I just really, Connor, you're really funny, but that was really insensitive of you.
Yeah.
And before you go,
notice how he walked out?
Right. Yeah, just analyzing every little thing. Like, I know what he was thinking. It's written all over his face.
Right. Look at his body language. Look at his body language. You know, black people don't even like custard.
Frozen custard.
Custard. So before you go, I'll wrap this, and this is the last thing I have to say. So a black person who like probably peaked in fame around 2008 approached me at a comedy club and told me that he could guess what tribe in Africa I'm from if, and only if, I allowed him to measure my skull.
Don't they call that phrenology?
Phrenology.
They do.
Uh-huh.
Eugenics gang up
Eugenics
in
gang
this
up
bitch.
in this
Eugenics
bitch.
gang up in
Phrenology
this
is no
bitch.
friend of
Eugenics
me.
gang up
I'll
in
tell you
this
that.
bitch.
Friend of mine.
Eugenics gang up in this bitch. Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, that's
I love
that's
Patreon
my,
uses soundbite, but
Eugenics gang up in this gang. Eugenics gang.
And we all just did it.
I had to give the haters one. No, I can't. Y'all not gonna get me.
right.
Y'all not gonna get me, dog.
Eugenics gang
It's
on
like,
4.
it's like when they take
That's my favorite
they
actor,
take
Eugene
shit
Levy.
It's like when they take shit from Obama's audiobooks. Like, it's just like, what the fuck is this, nigga? Like,
Well, you say, get your own damn fries. Have you seen the clip of Trump going, Obama?
what?
He says Obama with an N at the end of it. Obama. On Twitter, they'll have that, and then they'll have Biden saying Minnesota, but like sliced in half. So it'll be like, soda!
Oh my God. Look. Let me just say this. Let me just say these. Please, someone throw a beat behind me. Fuck it. Go all the way with it. I don't give a fuck. Go all the way with it. If you're going to commit. Don't just cut the clip. Put a beat behind it.
Gang up in this bitch.
You know there's going to be some freaky, problematic like group called eugenics with like a K in the future.
Right.
Oh, yeah. There's already have you seen the pills, eugenics?
No.
Or
It sounds like a Joe Rogan like fucking.
Oh, I think it's
Alex
Yeah, I
Jones supplement.
Oh,
I
no,
take
it's-
eugenics before every fight.
it's Nugenics.
Nugenics.
Yeah, it is a supplement.
New generation.
No, we're doing it again the right way.
The right way.
It's the new version. Oh God, I like. Well, there's so much more I want to talk. I want to talk about that fucking school Kanye's
bro.
building. He's talking about a new ecosystem, cotton farms
Bro.
and manufacturing he wants to build.
You can see he's pulling on some of the stuff we're talking about, but there's
It's
just no
so too late.
coherency.
It's
And
crazy.
I just want to talk about how I watched Crouching Tiger recently. Again.
I also think with that, it's like he's getting to the point where it's like, I don't know, bro. Like, I don't know if you're just misguided anymore. I really don't buy that.
There's something
I don't think
way
there's like
deeper.
oh, he'll get it eventually. Like, I don't fucking
that's
think
done.
so.
That's
I think there's a
done, bro.
dominator
That's
logic
done.
that's inextricable from like your
Messiah
soul at this
complex
point.
logic.
It's something broke in
right.
you. It's not going to get fixed.
Yeah. No.
You're extremely powerful. You have no consideration for that.
Yeah.
Your influence, you're malevolent at a certain point. I'm not going to call another human being evil necessarily, but like, you're being evil. You're just being evil.
It almost feels racist to continue suggesting that any of this is out of his control.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
It's like, it almost is the... It almost
it's paternalizing. It's like
it's not.
He couldn't get it. He just couldn't have those ideas. I mean, he has mental health issues, and come on.
Ironically,
come on, guys.
It's the.
I wouldn't want my kid on TikTok either. That's why I'll abuse my whole family, and everyone around me.
Right.
It's like what?
Well, bro, it's ironically, it's the same logic people use to promote anti-Semitism. There's always this conspiracy theory that behind every black movement is ultimately the Jews. There's
Right.
always that somebody comes out with that shit. So to have people perpetuating that narrative that Kanye doesn't know what he's doing or doesn't know what he's talking about, he's got some type of like fucking unseen puppet master of mental health or whatever the fuck it is.
Like he does
and
have
being
yes men
disingenuous
around him,
about that.
but like you're also keeping the yes. He's not a fucking idiot. He's very intelligent.
Yeah.
He's abusing his family. He's just outright abusing and stalking and harassing his wife and family.
Right.
He's now fully just saying, like, it's literally like
Hitler
1922
apologia.
shit. It's literally like, yeah, he's normalizing fascism. It's like, it's clear now that the whole Balenciaga all-black fascist adjacent imagery is not as much of a joke, or as ironic as you might think.
Right.
He's going through these cycles where it's like, oh, they tried to get me on the Trump train and Candace Owens. Oh, but I'll come back with Candace Owens and say White Lives Matter and all that.
Yeah.
Oh, but I'm trolling. It's like,
Right.
literally go fuck yourself. Like at this point, go fuck yourself. You're my enemy. You're my enemy.
I just see narcissism and maybe even some sociopathic shit going on, low key. But it's probably just a narcissism personality disorder or something.
It's all of it jumbled up fucking together.
Yeah.
And then on a deeper human level, there's a level of awareness and intelligence, and also he's just not stupid. He knows what he's doing at this point. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, you're being fucking evil. Like there's just no excuse for it.
Right.
There's absolutely none.
Mm-hmm.
We're never going to be like, wow, we really were hard on Kanye. That'll never fucking happen.
Yeah.
That'll never happen. Ever.
Never again.
There's not a you'll see. It'll all make sense later. I was dumb enough to the point where he was doing the Trump shit. I'm like, he's really going about this really recklessly, but maybe there's a point here. He's got an album coming out. Maybe he'll address. And then no.
Yeah.
Not
it's
at
like,
all. And I was like, oh, this is really
at what
embarrassing.
point do we stop buying into that whole like he's just promoting himself shit? Like that's just just what it is.
If Hitler,
he got a new album coming out.
He got
if Hitler dropped music,
if
Hitler dropped music, it wouldn't matter.
Right.
You know? Like
who gives a fuck, man? Donda 2 coming soon.
Donda 2's
3
out. You can only play it on his shower speaker that he sold it for $300.
Right.
I think I may have created a word.
What's
No,
that?
I didn't.
Eugenics?
No, I said paternalizing earlier, but I meant patronizing.
Yeah.
But paternalizing.
Patronizing.
I mean, same
He's
implications.
patronizing.
I think. Yeah.
There's a connection there. There's a, you know. Yeah.
I'm
you got to recognize that sometimes people just have bad ideas.
And sometimes they have agency.
Right.
I'm just so done. Like, there was even someone who was like, what do you listen to when you want to listen to Kanye, but you can't? And it's like, dude, I listen to it enough. I got it.
I got
It's
it.
in there.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, there's definitely some music, like Michael Jackson, I can easily listen to. Sorry. But, like, it's getting to the point where it's like, this person's alive and actively sucking.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
To do this, you know, it's not a movie where the characters it's a fictional.
Right.
This is someone's voice, and it's their art is them.
Yeah.
They're still impacting and shaping people's lives. They have a lot of
they're being defended broadly.
Right.
There's
it's like how long are we gonna perpetuate this notion that you can just like blindly like fucking Mr. Magoo fumble your way into fascism? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's on purpose.
You went on Tucker Carlson.
Yeah.
The Van Lathan moment they cut out where he I don't know if you saw this story. Zach retweeted it. In that 2018 TMZ thing where he was like slavery was a choice, he literally also said, I like Hitler, I like Nazis, and they cut that out.
What?
They cut that out. They left everything else. They cut that out. Van Lathan, even in his rant, said he referenced that. They cut that out because then they would have to include the Hitler comments.
Wow.
Yeah, Van Lathan on his podcast recently because he was holding on to that shit.
Right.
Like probably to help him out, not mention that, you know? But now he came with that DEFCON 3 tweet. He's like, yeah, he was also mentioning Hitler.
Yeah. I got some rat beef tea related to that I can share with y'all after this is done, but I figure we could end with this, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Highly recommend getting off the Kanye train before it inevitably reaches the Hitler was a good guy stop.
Damn,
Zaxtradamus.
Zaxtradamus, yeah.
Yeah.
What, Negrodamus? Fucking Paul Mooney. Yeah.
Well,
Man.
folks, we'll certainly have more to talk about next episode. Thank you for tuning into Jaded Forum episode 14.
I'm just picturing fucking Charlie Murphy on Chappelle's show, like, you know, he was talking about Hitler back then. You know what I'm saying? I was doing that Rick James skit.
Yeah.
You know, he was in the background.
See, Kanye's Charlie Murphy is Talib Kweli. Talib Kweli will be like, Kanye was talking about that all the way back then. He hasn't changed. He's always been that person.
Right.
to the shit that you were saying, Connor.
Yeah.
He told me that personally. He told me that directly, Talib Kweli.
Really?
Years ago.
About
like
the
over a
Hitler
decade
stuff or
ago.
about the right-wing stuff in general?
No, not him being into Hitler or something, but just him being like,
Hitler.
it was after the I used to love Kanye became a thing, and people saying, oh, I want the old Kanye. And
it's like that. This is the
and
old
Talib
Kanye.
Kweli's like, no, he always had these values. He was just, there's more shit I can share, but it's not for the cameras. So maybe one day bonus
Maybe
content.
the exclusive content.
Yeah.
I miss Weimar Kanye.
Yeah. Yeah.
I miss post World War I.
There's super secret
Right.
intel that I
Yeah.
can share with y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But y'all aren't gonna hear it. All right. On 4, right,
hold on.
guys?
Yeah.
Let's go.
All right.
Let's
The invisible four.
engage.
1, 2, 3.